Race number 2 will see this beautiful series swing on up north from the places down under of Australia, Phillip Island, all the way to beautiful Japan. Welcome to Mobility Resort Motegi, and back to the Classic Indycar Series. My name is Ola Rampel. Joined alongside me tonight is Austin Edstrom and Gary Godso. What a race we're having this afternoon. What an opener it was. Just 3 weeks ago. Hard to believe so much time has already passed. It was such a wild race that we had coming on out of that first race. Cameron Dance, of course, taking his second win in a row at Phillip Island. Willie Schwabauer, the pole center, found himself tipped upside down, and you got drivers like Lucas Santos having to make great drives back through the field. But today, we get sent to do it all over again, but this time on a 1.5-mile oval. Austin, it's the big story with the points championship entering today. Willie Schwabauer, of course, not having a good night. It is up to Cameron Dance then to maintain a 12-point gap back to Johnny Garrett.
Crazy that last season we were talking about Cameron Dance being Mr. Consistency, keeping himself in the fight for the championship all year long by just stringing along top 3 finishes every single race, it felt like, but wouldn't really get the wins too frequently. I think only 1 win on the season last year, but man, he started out this year with that early win in race number 1, getting himself out to that early points lead. Now it's just to see if he can keep it through the rest of the season, and here with Twin Ring Motegi, the oval, I think Dance has a pretty good chance. He was really good at the ovals last season.
And of course, Gary, this track holding a lot of history in the IndyCar community, especially in the Classic IndyCar Series as well. It's a venue that sees more use, I would say, these days from the NASCAR community than I've ever seen, more so than the IndyCar. But hey, we're back. We're ready for more. I know one notable driver that competed in this race in the Classic IndyCar Series actually was Sage Karam, being bested by Matt Cook in 2019. But you got all the history to break us down on how this venue could play out today.
Sure, Twin Ring does still show up in the official IndyCar series on iRacing about once a year, maybe twice a year, and it still picks up a fair number of participants. It's a 1.5-mile oval, and in the IR-18s at least, you can pick up a pretty good pace here. Now, ironically, the IR-18s never raced here in real life. These exact cars we're watching today were the actual ones that raced here in real life last time they made a visit to Twin Ring Motegi. IndyCar stopped coming here in 2011 just after the Japanese earthquake and tsunami. It actually damaged a part of the oval, so the final race here was actually, when they call this Twin Ring Motegi, it was on the second ring here, which is the road course that runs through the middle of the track and through the outfield just past the backstretch there. But they've been here, IndyCar and CART's been coming here for a very long time. Of course, this is kind of the home track for Honda. The CART track record set back here in '99, set by Gilda Farron, with a speed of just over 219 miles per hour. So those older turbocharged darts were really kicking it up around here. The IRL IndyCar track record was set in 2004 by Helio Castroneves with a speed of 205, so just a little bit slower with these style cars. The career wins leaders here in real IndyCar racing is Adrian Fernandez leads with 2. And he did them both while in CART, while Castroneves, Scott Dixon, and Lionheart himself, Dan Weldon, also have 2, but they did it in IRL competition. Dixon is the only driver to have a win on the oval, and then he won on the road course in the final race in 2011. Twin Ring Motegi is also arguably the site of auto racing's, depending if you're a fan of her or not, more popular mainstream victories, when in 2008, Danica Patrick took her one and only IndyCar win, making her the only woman in the 100-plus year history of organized IndyCar racing to make it to victory lane. So this track, even on its own, holds some very historical importance to IndyCar racing in the real world, even though they haven't been back since 2011.
So we still got a lot of stuff to talk about entering the race tonight. Of course, a lot of history behind this race, both in the real world and, of course, in the virtual world as well. You can see a lot of drivers doing those practice starts. We've been talking a lot about how this race is going to drive tonight. Going to be quite a bit of professional single-file racing, flat out just about through turns 1 and 2. You can even find a bit of a line to make it work in dirty air, but 3 and 4... that's where it's really going to jam on the binders. Austin, I've always described this place as being a mix between, you could call it the bastard child, really, of Darlington to the Worldwide Technology Raceway back stateside, right? I mean, the same layout to both of those tracks, but drives so wildly different from both of them. One thing to note, this track is wide. It is so wide, and yet almost none of that gets used. That set in mind, any favorites you have entering this race tonight?
Oh boy, any favorites? That's a tough one. I mean, Henry Bennett's always a good pick, and I mean, it sounds like a pretty easy pick given he was fastest in qualifying, right? But Bennett was stupid quick the races that he showed up last season in the series. I just expect him to keep it up. Bennett, Egan, Weekly, Mustonen, Simmons. I mean, all those guys were so quick last season, week in, week out. I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those five kind of take it home again.
Gary, what about you?
I have seen way too much of Henry Bennett, and not just these cars, but other cars as well, to ignore him when he's in the starting lineup. So he would be probably your I would say leader in the clubhouse even before we take the green flag, because he's that darn good. And he and his team have a long history of developing these setups over time and tweaking them and making them better. So I totally expect that this to be Henry Bennett's race, and it might be just a race for second place. We see, I mean, it's 201 laps. It's still a long race, 300 miles.
Well, that said, I think I'm going to go with Sebastian Kinder. Second fastest in practice, starting fourth in the race. Should be a good run for him as well. And, well, Austin, it's about time we take a rundown of what your starting grid is going to look like as the field will grid on up on pit road. 29 cars ready to rumble to life. Started on pole position this afternoon. It is Team Chimera Powerslide driver Henry Bennett alongside Thomas Boustiner from Iconic Motorsports. Ethan Hagen brings it up in the number 3 spot alongside the Frenchman Sebastian Kinder. From there, it's Jamie Wilson in 5th alongside the American Johnny Garrett. Italian racer Cesare Mazzato will be in 7th with Logan Simmons back in 8th. And last race winner Cameron Dan starts in 9th alongside Alexander McBean to close out row number 5.
On the inside of row number 6, we've got Andrea Giacometti with Caleb Weekly on the outside in 12th place. Randy Shoemake lines up in the 13th place position with Adam Eckert on his outside in 14th. Lucas Santos starting in the 15th place position with Andrew Aitken in 16th. VJO Vesa Jessa Olila in 17th with Hans Pickenen on the outside in 18th. Rafael Rodriguez lines up in the 19th place position with Marshall Stanley rounding out the top 20.
And moving on down into the bottom 9 cars of the qualifying order this afternoon, it's Franz Josef Stum back in 21st, Robert Grosser in 22nd, Stephen Mellis in 23rd, Jack Turner in 24th, Bob Barticow 25th, Matthias Marcamini in 26th, Jan Hoffman 27th, and then it'll be Matt Molnar and Matthias Strauss bringing up the rear of the field. Bottom 3 cars then, Gary, not putting down lap times as we pace the field for the one and only time before the green flag drops.
Yeah, track position means a lot here, so they might kind of come back and regret that. But we'll see. Like I said, undercut's powerful here. They might have another strategy, and also you could save a ton of fuel here. So even if you're in the back, it's not necessarily out of the question to get up into the top 10 at some point during this race. But I would at least throw in a little bit of a qualification lap and see if I can get into the mid-pack. We'll see. Getting ready to go green.
Working around through turn numbers 3 and 4. Grab here joining us for more racing action here on a beautiful Sunday afternoon as the iRacing pace car pulls down into pit road. We're into the restart zone, and it's time to go, go, go for the Pavement Recycling Systems 500K.
Deep down in turn number 1, front 3 already single filing out. Now top 6, 7, all single filed out. First side-by-side battle. A little bit further back coming off the turn number 2, but they get that thing sorted as well. So already lap number 1 kind of going the way that Gary said it would. Single filing out early, but still everybody packed up tight on top of each other. Coming down to turn number 3, just about side by side for the 3rd place spot. But it looks like the car on the outside getting a poor run through the center of the corner and going to be challenged coming across the stripe.
So, Gary, you got the top 2 already in a battle with each other. Thomas Boustiner trying to look for the outside on Henry Bennett, wasting absolutely no time in trying to get over to the point. Boustiner round the top shelf at turn 2, trying to look for something into 3 and 4.
And not getting the car to rotate very well through 3 and 4, although he does have a wing full of clean air on the high side. They're going to drag race off the corner, but see, when we get down to the corner itself, and now he pulls it off, as Mustanen now has the lead. Let's see if Henry can set him back up with the draft. You're all the way 100% on the throttle all the way through turns 1 and 2, and then down the backstretch. And then there's actual braking zone. You'll see the braking markers on the fence there, and then they'll get a little bit on the binders, sometimes roll out of the throttle, change a gear, and then try to get that car to rotate. And here goes Ethan on the bottom side under Henry, as Henry has a bunch of dirty air in front of him, can't get the car to rotate like he wants to, and how he had it before when he was leading.
So a lot to be excited about as we're going to get things more or less single filed out. And Austin's seen a lot of separation already throughout the field. And
all the way down the back. Mustanen still leading the way, coming down to turn number 3. One big mover down to the inside. Bennett again. Logan Simmons looking down to the inside, coming into turn number 3, and he's able to just take it away from Henry. Bennett dropping significantly quickly in the early going of this one. I don't know if there's something wrong with that 007, but I'm surprised to see Bennett bleeding positions this early in the going.
Yeah, Henry Bennett not having a really good start to his race. He's all the way back in the number 5 spot here for the Team Chimera Power Slide crew now. And could be looking to save some tires, but I'm a bit surprised to see so much separation in this field. He got first all the way back to about 9th place here. Then Lucas Santos brings up the number 10 spot, headed up the second pack here, and he's in line all the way back to about 21st. We got another bit of a break, and then Matthias Strauss heads up the tail of the field as well. So seeing quite a few packs start in the form here, with little drafting battles, and not too dissimilar from what you typically see at a track like Daytona or Talladega in the NASCAR scene.
Oh, it is okay for Henry to fall back. We're only 6 laps into a 201 lap race. There was an IndyCar driver that had a pretty good career of qualifying up front, falling to the back, and then always showing up to win when it really counted. His name, Rick Mears, won 4 Indy 500s. I think he did okay with his career. Henry Bennett is in a style in the virtual sense of those type of drivers. Very patient. This is a marathon race. Let's get to the end, get these cars to behave well with adjusting your setup with the tools in the car. Maybe come to pit road during one of those stops and adjust the wings and the aero, and we'll see he'll be satisfied just fine. Meanwhile, the guys up front, they got to watch their stuff and can't wear it out too much, because otherwise, if they do, they're just going to run right back into the clutches of Bennett. So, again, I don't think Bennett has much to worry about, and I don't think we need to worry much about Bennett, because I think he's going to do just fine.
So Mooson and Egan, Simmons, Kinder, Bennett for the top 5, and you see Cameron Dance, the winner from the PRS IndyCar Grand Prix at Phillip Island, trying to make a move to get himself up to the number 6 spot. Right now finding it out with Jamie Wilson, while they're side by side for 17th with Marshall Stanley and Adam Eckert down deep in the midfield. And also, we got problems as Stefan Mellis has gone around to the front stretch.
Yeah, nobody near him. Those are the caution flags. Not going to fly. He got that thing straightened out before the field came back around. So it looks like we're going to stay under the green flag. Already 5% done with this race, just about, as we're about to complete lap number 9. Side-by-side battle here for the 6th place position. Wilson looking to the outside of Dance, trying to hang on to the spot. Dance started a little bit further back in 9th place. Wilson started in 5th. Dance has continued to climb through the field up to the 6th place position if he can clear off a 2, but I don't think he's going to quite be able to do it.
Yeah, it looks like Stefan had a typical issue kind of with your hard under acceleration coming off the corner, and the car got loose, and he had to grab tons of wheel to get that thing to stay off the wall, but he brought it on around, and now he has, he has a bunch of clean air in front of him. That's the good news.
It's a good job hanging on to that car. It's not very often you rev at a racetrack where it's about 30 feet from outside wall to inside wall.
Oh, hold on. Look out here. Sorry to cut you off, but Rafael Rodriguez straddling the turn 1 and 2 apron. He's going to drop a couple, but that easily could have sent the car up into the fence.
A couple decent saves here with him the last couple laps, but it's getting me a little nervy to make me think that, I don't know if the tires are getting a little bit harder to handle these things. Getting a little bit.
Car off the floor.
Oh, there it is.
Marshall Stanley.
I was just about to say, I can feel the caution coming with people starting to slip and slide, and well, Stanley having something happen coming out of turn number 4. you could just tell it was coming over the course of the last couple laps though, right? We were starting to see mistakes that we hadn't seen through the first 5-10 laps of this thing, and then all of a sudden one spinner off of 4, one just about spun off of 2, and then, well, it just took one more lap for Stanley.
He was hanging that right rear out there a lot, and I think he just overheated the right rear, just brought it on around, a little bit of a snap oversteer on corner exit. Again, that's a little too much tools, a little too much working the car to get it to turn on the bottom and getting that right rear heated to the point that it says, hey, I've had enough.
That's loose early in the corner too. I was expecting it to be a little bit further out whenever you're getting more onto the straight, but man, he really looped that thing in the middle of turn 4. Again, like you said, didn't hit the wall. I said under the last one that it's not often you wreck with walls that are 30 feet apart and not hit either one, but we've got 2 of them now in the course of the last 3 laps that we're able to do it off of 4.
Look at that. It barely skipped a beat coming off of turn number 4 with that one. Right on board with Marshall Stanley, as this is completely self-inflicted, and the only reason why the yellow flag came out for this one is because he was in the middle of a big pack of cars. But had there not been anybody around, then well, you never know, right? I mean, it could have been a big accident, but probably didn't even have to be a yellow at the end of the day.
So leaders are going to stay out here. Track position's everything at this racetrack. So I would expect someone in the mid-pack, and there we see Aiken, former winner here, coming to pit road. And he's down in 19th, so that kind of makes it. Oh, we got a car with damage. Who is that? That is...
Is that Ecker? It is.
Not sure when that happened, but that is horribly askew.
So I am seeing something. It looks like this may have happened after the yellow came out. We were already pacing at the time, so the caution is already out. These guys are slowing down, trying to catch up the tail of the pacing line.
Okay, yeah, he was catching up to the back of the field. Closing rate in these cars, even under caution, is up there, and he grabs the brakes and they catch, and it noses his car into the outside wall right before 3 and 4.
Austin, how often is it that we see a crash that's bigger under caution than the one that brought the caution out in the first place?
Well, I wish that I could say it doesn't happen very often, but to be honest, I feel like we see it kind of frequently. I mean, with how many races we broadcast, I feel like I've seen my fair share of caution wrecks that end up being pretty big. So,
I don't know. The SCA Sports Car Championship, Laguna Seca. If you know, you know.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we have some bad juju at Green Flag TV, but we definitely get the yellow flag wrecks. I don't know what's up with that.
Dude, I managed to on Wednesday for the PSR race. I managed to commentators curse a caution happening, and I wasn't even commentating or producing. I had nothing to do with the broadcast. I was just chilling around and watching, and I still managed to curse the race. So
I don't think it's cursing at this point. I think it's just that as a commentator, you watch so many races that you can just feel whenever it's about to happen. Really and so you say something and it just kind of sounds like a curse, but really you're predicting.
Lights out on the pace car. We're going to go green next time by. But, I mean, keep in mind, these guys, this is in a simulation, but they're still traveling at what we would consider domestic highway speeds here in the United States. So at 60 miles per hour, imagine yourself behind another car at 60 miles per hour, and they throw on the brakes right at the last second. That same closing rate that you have and you experience with your car, they just experience here in a simulator form. And they're not even seeing brake lights. They just see the car get close to them really quickly. And then when they do grab those brakes, again, these aren't the same type style brakes that they have on the road courses. These are oval brakes. They have very small brake discs. And so when they catch very quickly. And when they catch, they often will lock up the brakes. And then when you lock up the brakes, you kind of lose control of where you're aiming the car.
So you can find restarts, of course, as per the norm for most IndyCar races throughout the world, both in sim and, of course, in the real world as well. Meaning we see drivers stick to the outside, because you can overtake on the outside. You cannot on the inside.
Wheel spin, big wheel spin.
It's going to keep drivers from passing before the line. Green flag is out, though, and we're double file already, coming down to 1.
Yeah, big stack up on the restart.
Oh, my goodness, we're 4 wide.
Going down into turn number 1. They're going to get it sorted. Oh, my goodness. I mean, there's enough room here to do it and wanted to, but I don't know if I would want to.
Well, somebody didn't want to because he bailed out from the high side, but tell you what, wild restart.
Matt Molnar, black flag. Casey Cesar Manazardo, black flag.
So
heartbreaking because I feel like they were just trying to miss the wreck, right? But I mean, it's an iRacing black flag. Not really much you can do about it.
Well, I'm willing to bet they probably passed before the line on the inside. Like we were just talking about, you're not allowed to do that.
Well, yeah, but like I said, like they were stacking up in front of them. Like Gary had said on the restart, there was heavy wheel spin, and at that point, if somebody's up against the wall and they have wheel spin, you're either checking up and getting hit from behind, or you're hitting them from behind, or you're just going to the inside and avoiding the accident. I understand the going to the inside to avoid the accident. It just sucks you get the black flag with it.
Look at this, 3-4. Oh boy, Hans Pickerman and one of the iconic drivers have wanted nothing to do with that, Gary.
4 wide into the corner, and the host with the most, our admin, Robert, just sends it down to the bottom. And really, you gotta, I mean, he's not taking a big gamble at that point. I mean, your best opportunities to pass at this racetrack are going to be under the first lap or two after coming to green or with fresh tires, because you're not going to get another easy opportunity until, well, the next caution.
4-car train here packed up in a line. This is the battle for the number 4 spot with Sebastian Kinder, Cameron Dance, Henry Bennett, and Lucas Santos all under a blanket in the 29 entry. Sorry, yeah, I was going to say this is a 3-car battle. Matt Molnar, lap traffic in the middle of this battle. We are 3 wide down the front straightaway, and backing out is going to be, well, nobody really backed out. Kinder just got a great drive off the top side in the draft and chops the nose big time of Henry Bennett.
So in the community, we call that a Brazilian clear. When you race the Brazilian drivers in the community, if they see a gap, very much like Ayrton Senna, see gap, fill it, take it. And Seb right there slices right in front of Hamilton, or Henry, says, I was cleared, but not by much.
We saw that happen with Lucas Santos with another driver at the Phillip Island race for the season opener earlier on.
They've got a different style of racing down there in Brazil. I don't know what it is, but they are some aggressive people down there.
I like it.
I get nervous anytime I see a Brazilian in one of my races, because they have like an extra bit of aggression. Like you said, it's like a little bit of Senna-esque that every single one of them just has in their bloodstream. I don't get it.
It's like Finnish drivers in the rally scene, right? They're just built different. There's something about what they do that it just works. Got to fight for the lead on as well. Austin Thomas Mustonen being caught rapidly by Ethan Agan. So Iconic Motorsports and Team Watson Racing setups about to go to war on track once again.
Yeah, Egan's done a good job the last couple laps just to kind of close that gap down, or at least keep it mitigated, right? You've seen the rest of the pack kind of fall off these front two. Logan Simmons has fallen back. Kinder has actually caught Simmons a little bit. Or excuse me, I believe that's a lap right behind Simmons. But nonetheless, the front two have easily pulled away from the rest of us. Did he
no! Huge hit into the outside wall. Cameron Dance,
our points leader.
And Lucas Santos. So the New Zealand driver and the Canadian, the American, both out of the race. Big. That was a violent hit into the turn 2 wall. And one of the biggest hits we've seen of the season so far.
All right, this thing starts off of 4 with Dance getting to the inside, and then Seb gives the Brazilian clear, and on his way down, he grabs a handful of the apron. That causes Dance to check up a little bit, and the car behind him, again, closing rates extreme here. The car behind him just gets into the back of him. Nothing he could do.
And you can see Dance got sideways, right? He had that left front tire down on the apron, got that car rotating too quick, had to get out of the throttle to try to keep the rear end under it. And like you said, Santos just honestly nowhere to go. The closing rate is just too ridiculous in these Indy cars whenever you get off the throttle, or whenever the car in front gets off the throttle. The car behind still just trying to throttle up on exit of the corner. Just about nothing right behind can really do. I mean, I feel bad for Dance, but I don't know. It's not like you can really put that too hard on Santos. You know, we're just talking on the closing rate.
I think that's a racing deal. Yeah, just to explain, when people are like, well, why can't he get to the brakes? And he had enough time, and I would have been on the brakes. Basically, these cars produce so much downforce, and we're talking thousands of pounds of downforce with these wings and the tunnels underneath these cars, that when they come off the accelerator just a little bit, it's effectively hitting the brake. It's like the old air brake with Maverick and Goose, and they're going to let the guy fly on by. Much the same way. You come off the accelerator here, it's like hitting the air brake, and the guy right behind you is either going to fly right on by, or in this case, flying right into the back of you.
Pretty much everybody in the pit road this time by, except for the top 12. So top 12 drivers all staying out. What is now 13th on down, all coming in, and looking like it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for most.
Yeah, again, track position is everything here. Even with old tires and light tanks, these guys really should be able to control the pace up front against these cars now that are coming in and getting the new rubber.
Let's look on board at Cameron Dance and get one more on board with Lucas Santos. Second week in a row, and Santos will find himself having a bad day. Unfortunately, Austin, this time, he's not going to be able to drive back to the field from that.
No, and it just all happened so fast, right? I mean, he had half a second to react to that, and you can tell that he went up the racetrack a little bit, but yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, it was a couple tenths of a second, if that, and at that point, I mean, you could see that Santos did twitch the wheel a little bit to the right, try to get up the racetrack, but it's just, I mean, he would have had to turn pretty hard right to avoid that at that point, and it's hard to do that in the middle
boy. And like you said, right, those cars just took off on the run down towards turn number 1. It's such a big shame, though. I mean, these Santos is hoping for a lot this afternoon, and oh, who knows? Maybe we'll get the chance to talk to him later, but we're about to go green here.
Lucky for him, it's just the second race of the season for Cameron. He won that first race, got the maximum points and everything he needed to be the points leader. He's going to fall a little bit down in the order, but it's only the second race of the season. And this is a calendar-long schedule. This runs from, last month all the way to November. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities to make that up as the season progresses. If this was like a 7-race, 8-race type season, all done in 8 weeks or something like that, I'd be a little bit more worried for Cameron. I think Cameron's going to be okay. He'll just going to look at this race and go, that's one to forget. We'll just audit that one out.
So Austin, 2 cautions in the first 25 laps. One pretty innocuous, debatable if it should have been one even. The other one, fair enough. I can see a yellow flag coming up with that one.
Yeah.
Trend,
I don't think there's any debating.
But the trend, do we think it's going to continue?
No, I do think we're going to get a long green flag run here pretty soon, right? 200-lap race, a lot of cars in this race at this point. Now, could we have another caution or two before we get to that green flag run? Absolutely, but I would be shocked if we do not get a 50 to 80-lap run at some point.
And my experience with this racetrack is we see a lot of green flag runs, long green flag runs. But the problem is it's coming up to speed with wheel spin, and there we see again another one of the cars right around Robert, right on the outside. That might be Matthias Strauss, had wheel spin at the start, and now it packs them all up behind him.
And I'm worried about Barnicow. He might have passed on the inside. I'll be watching Rob Barnicow coming down pit road this time. He was close.
He does have a black flag. Barnicow has a black flag.
And don't forget as well, a good half of the field now on fresh tires to boot, so they're going to be trying to fly to this field. Oh, Barnicow locks it up, entering turn 3, trying to get it down on the apron. He is going to get the Aero X machine turned down. He will make it to pit road. But it is a complete hornet's nest, and you'd think we had just gone green for an Indy 500 with how packed up they are to turn 1.
And look who's all of a sudden in 12th spot, 13th spot. He spun out off of turn 4 early in the race, and again, he just kept his track position, and look where he is.
Adam Eckert on the move, as is Randy Shoemake. Swings one to the inside of the 23, Stefan Mellis. Mellis tracking up Rodriguez out high, and he's almost going to catch the fence coming off at turn number 4. It is a madhouse back here. Egan just set the fastest lap of the race, but on old tires.
That's Rob Barnicow right there. Barnicow's getting lapped down on the bottom side of the racetrack. So if you get a black flag, you instantly get lapped, right, on the pass through. So one black flag in this race, and all of a sudden your race is basically over, right? No lucky dogs in Indycar. The wave rounds are tough to come by. So, oh man, what a move by the 10 down to the inside into turn number 3. That was a late dive bomb from the 10. Caleb Weekly, what a move down to the inside to get into the top 15.
If it works to give you room, fair play.
Yeah, right, no racing gimmicks in IndyCar here. No lucky dogs, no playoffs, no double file restarts. You got to earn it on the racetrack.
Thank God.
Oh, we got, I think one just hit the wall up in turn 3. I heard a big crunch and Rob Barnicow. And that is it. Caution flag.
One thing leads to another. Oh my goodness.
Caution flag number 3 at lap 31, averaging about 1 every 10 laps.
I mean, you get behind, right? You said one thing leads to another. It's the classic, one mistake, you get behind, you're trying to, well, honestly, there, it's not even, it's just kind of pinching a lead lap car.
Wow. Jeez. There is no side. Well, I guess there is side draft in these cars. It's not very smart to use it because of those situations. Yeah. They look like a little bit of flight checking going on in a hockey game.
I'm shocked we didn't get a car that flew into the air there. That easily could have been a massive flip, and it's about as soft as a wreck as that could have possibly been.
I'm a little confused as to why Barnical's running the middle of the road a lap down. He's not fighting for position with these guys. I don't think that, he's so far back from the leaders right there that I don't think he's going to go up there and fight for his lap back. It's a little weird the line he was running. Now, Simmons absolutely ended up coming up and hip checking him, but he's trying to widen out the entrance to the corner. So I get what Simmons is just trying to do, especially because Barnical's a lap car. But I mean, at the end of the day, I guess Barnical was there. He's allowed to stick in his line, but I don't know. If I'm a lap down, I might give a little bit more room than sitting in the middle of the straight.
I don't think they have any clarified blue flag rules here in the league, at least on ovals. So I do know that Barnical had pace through practice and was a fast car then, and I think maybe he was just trying to hold out track position and hope that he could get through the other half of the stint and those leaders all come to pit road and he get his lap back that way, or just stay up front past the leaders and a caution comes out and he gets his lap back that way. But I think he was just trying to maintain track position as well as try to give room. And well, yeah, that's sometimes what happens, is that your competitors see you as a lap down and feel that you should give way, and you don't necessarily feel that way, especially when you feel you have a chance to get that lap back.
Well, we mentioned we might be able to talk to him before this caution came out, but we will get the chance to bring Lucas Santos into the broadcast booth and talk to him a little bit about what happened there on lap 22. Lucas, tough break to end your second race in a row with issues, but talk us through what happened there on the 22nd lap of the race, as that was a big one.
Oh, there we go. Awesome. Yeah, the incident, we talked it out afterwards. We looked at the replays. It's a bit unfortunate. I thought I had a good run, and I just didn't expect him to hit the apron. That's what came down to it when we talked it out. Just nowhere to go. I guess wrong place at the wrong time. I felt really good in the car, so I guess kind of that confidence too of like, oh, I can get him. But comes to show, just kind of be more cautious, I guess, even with that kind of like wanting to make the move. It felt really good, but oh well, that's how the incident happened.
Well, we got another race coming on up 3 weeks from today. It'll be swinging out to Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache to the Interlagos circuit. You going to be back for round 3?
Yeah, we'll do our best to get the number 19 back on the grid and making sure that we can give this car the performance it gives.
Well, you had a good recovery drive from Phillip Island. You've proven you got the pace. Now we just got to wait for fortune to fall your way. Wish you the best of luck then in 3 weeks.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Santos for the Screech and Boost Motorsports crew crashed out on lap 22, one of the first retirees of this race. By the way, Cameron Dance from that incident, he is back on the racetrack, albeit almost 10 laps down.
Top 6 have not pitted yet, so watch the wheel spin on this restart. And let's, for fun and games, watch in 6th spot, number 99, Robert Fulsen Grosser there, as we'll see what he can do going into turn 1 this time.
Boosted and on the loud panel. Green flag back in the air. No problems, at least this time by for the top 6. And Austin, we are clean and green into turn number 1, although a little bit of 3 wide on the approach.
I don't think we got any. I don't think we had any black flags that time, so everybody minding the P's and Q's a little bit better this time around. So nobody,
look at that mess off like 2.
But man, out of 2, the mid pack is a hornet's nest. Every single one of these restarts. Right now, the 97 just caught in the middle, trying to find a way down to the inside.
Oh, no!
My goodness,
Don't do that!
That's a bump and run in Indycar.
Oh, no! Huge hit into the wall.
Henry Bennett.
Alexander McBean took flight with that one, and boy. But you mentioned, well, gentlemen, there goes your 2 guys' picks to win this race.
Yeah, that's a pretty astute observation there, Nolan. I'd have to agree with you. He did just kind of get ran through in turn 4, but and you know what? I feel weird about this one. He
Why
kind
my
of clears
pick to win of
himself,
all
right? He
people?
comes down the racetrack, but the 97, I'm sure Bennett is expecting to be lower, right? It's not like he's stuck in the middle 3 wide. The 97 up the racetrack just gets in the left rear, and, well, Henry Bennett honestly couldn't do anything from that point.
There was a
Oh, my
lot of dirty
goodness.
air in there, and that's kind of what caused Seb's car to kind of push there mid-corner. And it was just, at that point in the corner, your cars are the absolute lightest, and all it took was a little bit of a nudge.
Alexander McBean was so close to going over. That car was going over. It probably would have gone into the catch fence there, but he was so close to the wall that instead the car careened into the outside wall. That tipped it back onto all fours and comes to rest after a violent impact into the turn 4 safety barrier. Right on board with Henry Bennett.
And,
Watch this here. Henry actually the better view might have been from Seb to see kind of what was in front of him with all the dirty air, and he kind of comes up and gives an oh so light kiss to Henry there, and this is when the cars are the absolute lightest. There it is right there, and the dirty air in front of Seb just can't keep that bottom line with all that dirty air down there.
Now, Gary, I got a bit of a question on the IndyCar side of things with damage, right? I'm more of a NASCAR guy, and the NASCAR cars, you can take a beating, and even whenever they get damaged, you can fix it all, and it acts like the car's brand new. Now, if you're Henry Bennett, all 4 tires are still on the race car. There's no rear wing, and the front wing's bent. How much can you fix this thing up to be as quick as you were prior, right? Like, can you do the same thing you can do in the NASCAR?
There's visible damage, and then there's the invisible damage. And the invisible damage, quite often with these cars, has to do with floor damage, and the floor damage is exactly what it is. It's the floor of the car that's separate, that little bit that's right off the pavement. Well, underneath there are some critical grooves that allow air to travel through there to create a vacuum and a suction to help keep the car stuck to the ground. If the floor is damaged, he's going to be down several tenths a lap. If the side pod's damaged, it's basically like dragging a parachute behind the car for the remainder of the race. He's going to be down on speed and performance the entire time. So even if he can go to pit road and get a new back wing on, it's the unseen damage that might come back to haunt him later throughout the remainder of this race. The car might physically look good, but what we don't see, he'll be able to feel.
And ultimately, he did just go a lap down. And I talked about it earlier. Once you go down a lap in an IndyCar race, it's about impossible to get it back. Now, Bennett is probably one of the only guys in here, if he's got a clean car, that could do it. But still, I mean, you're asking a lot.
I agree with you, but then there's the big asterisk of Jacques Villeneuve at the Indy 500 and 95, 2 laps down, and still manages to win the thing. I don't think Henry is quite the level of driver as Jacques Villeneuve, but in the community, he is about one of the best. And if there's anybody that could do it, if he could get back out there, and if the car had it underneath it, I definitely think that he could have a shot. But it is possible to come back from multiple laps down to get a win in IndyCar racing. You just have to work for it.
Well, the lights have gone out aboard the iRacing pace car. We're ready to make the turn back down to the pit road. 4 cautions before we have hit the lap 40 mark, and that one came out quicker than most. Green flag, though, is back in the air.
Wheel spin again, back in the pack, and they're going 3 wide.
It's not an uncommon sight to see anymore. It's more of a question of where is it going to take place as opposed to if. And while the top bunch are getting away, it's still the side-by-side battle, all caught up in the dirty air for all the spots well outside of the top 10.
And Adam Eckert, black flag.
Such a shame Adam Eckert, Austin, just got out of that wreck, and you took the ride aboard with him. Nearly got caught up in that, and, well, now he's, well, he doesn't think he deserves it, at least, because he at least stayed out for that last lap.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. These restart black flags are frustrating from a broadcaster's perspective, and I can only imagine how they are from a driving perspective, right? Somebody just, hey, I mean, it's like what we saw earlier. Oh, tight off of turn number 2, a little bit of abnormal movement coming out of the corner there from the 18, trying to get some room to the 97 of Kinder getting by, and 18 still way up the racetrack, so not coming down to take that black flag just yet, but going back to those black flags, well, if they give me a second to talk about it, my goodness, 3 wide down the front straightaway. Who cares about the black flags? Eckert might get disqualified if he doesn't serve his this lap, though.
Yeah, what is it, 3? You got 3 laps to serve it, and then
it's 5.
Is it 5 now? Do they change it? It used to be 3.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3, too. Well, here it
And he's coming in this time. I think it was more a case of he was trying to wait for an opening to safely get down to the apron without being run over.
Ultimately a smart play. I like that from Eckert. Not, you made a mistake, or I don't know, somebody else made a mistake on the restart and he couldn't slow down for it. Don't take anybody else's race out of their hands, right? Don't make this about you at that point. Just, get down to the bottom when you can. Good job from Eckert. But again, the black flags suck, man. Everybody's hugging the wall. One car has wheel spin, and you're either pile driving them or going to the inside and getting a black flag and going a lap down. So, I don't know. It's kind of a lose-lose situation if you're stuck back there in the mid-pack.
It's first oval race for a lot of these guys this season, too. A lot of these didn't race in the Winter Series where we saw a number of coming to green wheel spin incidents, and it's a very easy thing to do in this car. In fact, some people, a standard restart gear is first gear. Some drivers just go to straight to second gear, and they'll sacrifice the fast restart for a safe restart. And you'd think they would kind of pick it up now, but this is the first oval of the season. Let's get into other ovals later in the season to see if we're still having this problem. But something that they're all taking note of and probably are going to have to adjust for as they go into this season. Again, this is not a secret about this car, and this car has been on the service ever since the service ever came into existence. So it should be something that we're all aware of. Logan Simmons taking a peek to the inside here on Ethan.
Logan Simmons sending that one firewall deep into turn number 3, and he is through. So Logan Simmons makes his way up to the number 2 spot. Now going to try to chase down Icon Motorsports driver Thomas Boosteden. Now, worth noting, Simmons, Egan, I believe both of them running as teammates under the GWRS banners this season. So could be a strategic position swap there, Austin, to try and see if maybe Simmons has got more pace than Egan does right now.
Yeah, we've seen this time and time again, right? Last season, we saw Simmons and Egan work together race after race after race. They would be nose to tail. I mean, these guys are not strangers whatsoever. I mean, they work together week in, week out in the Classic IndyCar Series, and you're seeing it again here. Simmons up to the second place position. Firmly in the draft to Mooston, and up here coming down to the 1 and 2, full throttle all the way throughout this corner. You can see him closing that gap down to Mooston, and he's going to do it more in this draft, down the back straightaway. Don't think he's going to be close enough for a move, but Logan Simmons is coming.
Got to keep in mind, these guys are getting pretty close to their first pit stops. They've stayed out. They've held on to this track position. But they're 45 laps into their opening stint here. And with the, 4 cautions we've had, they'll be able to get closer to the 60-lap mark. We thought that it'll be right around 50 laps or so for a scheduled green flag stop. Well, they'll be more closer to 60. So they are planning first stops here relatively soon. Now, when these guys all come to pit road, and if it's still green when they come to pit road, they're all going to go down a lap. So they're going to be on a slightly different strategy than everyone else, and they got to pray that they don't go caution after they stop, because then they're going to be locked down a lap.
Bennett coming back down. Yeah, you can see that rear wing still absolutely destroyed. He just decided probably not worth it at this point. The damage is too bad. I imagine he was way off the pace, out towards the back, already a lap down as well. So Bennett deciding not quite worth it to continue at this point.
So sit rep as to how the state of the field's looking right now. 29 cars started this race, 26 remain on the racetrack, and 20 of those are on the lead lap. And right now I got about 3 cars that are only 1 lap down with a chance to potentially get that lap back if they can luck out on pit strategy and a timely caution. But otherwise, the guys like Rob Barnicow and Cameron Dance, they're just circling the laps hoping to pick up more spots as drivers drop out of this race. So far, though, we are on our longest green flag run of the night, and this battle for the lead has gone nowhere.
I mean, why pass the guy when you're all coming to pit road on the same schedule? And if I'm Logan or Ethan and Thomas is blasting a hole in the air for me and I'm saving fuel behind him, why should I pass him?
Meanwhile, this is with Rafael Rodriguez deeper in the pack. He's got the battle for 8th just ahead of him between Caleb Weekley and Marshall Stanley, Austin.
Yeah, a little bit of a tight battle here. 10 car down to the inside, trying to pick up the 8th place position coming down into turn number 1. They're going to be side by side. Stanley's going to go way wide down into 1, and he's actually going to lose 2 positions out of that. 3 lanes off the racetrack. Make that 3 positions. That's not the best corner there for Marshall. Stanley going way up high, getting stuck on the outside. It almost looked like Martinsville there through 1 and 2, just full throttle.
Yeah, the bottom line is the preferred line through 1 and 2, although you can go up to the higher line and you can keep a momentum up there and get the clean air. It's just not going to progress you past somebody on the high line. Also on the bottom line out here, you notice that we're watching this group right here. Notice they keep hitting a big bump on the very bottom, right about the corner exit or midway through corner 2. That's very disruptive to these cars, especially if they start getting loose and they hit that bump. That will upset the car, and you could lose momentum through there, and a car on the high side could possibly get that pass completed for you if you hit that bump wrong. So be mindful of the bump through turns 1 and 2 on the very bottom, but the bottom lane is the fastest lane around.
And battle started to pick up as well for the lead of the race as Logan Simmons finally pulling the trigger, looks to the inside on Thomas Mustonen, the Iconic Motorsports number 22, slipping wide in 3 and 4. Logan Simmons picks one off for the inside, or does he? No, not quite. Mustonen pulling the outside to perfection there, and he's going to fend him off into turn 1.
Good momentum on the high side through 3 and 4. He did the deal there. Now down on the bottom through 1 and 2. Logan's going to regroup and give it another shot here again in 3 and 4.
These guys lining up down the back straightaway, trying to take some positions. Weekly going defensive down into turn number 3. Looked like the 80 was going to try to dive down to the inside. He ends up getting side by side with Kinder. Kinder way out, just about to the wall.
Way out in the gray.
Man, he's trying to find that run up the straight. It's going to work, and he's actually going to get to the outside of Weekly. I didn't know you could make it work that high in 3 and 4, but he's gotten to the outside of Weekly into 1. It didn't work last time we saw somebody out there, and it looks like he's actually going to lose a spot. Coming through 2 here, he's going to be side by side with the 80. Rafael Rodriguez trying to pick up a spot.
Hey, credit to him. He tried to make it work, and he clearly has got something figured out because he's going to try and go for it again, but this time he doesn't get the same type of drive down the straightaway. So Caleb Wink is able to hold on. Rafael Rodriguez in the mix, and we'll look who else is slow approach of this battle. Randy Shoemake just behind is also on the approach.
Yeah, he's just been kind of hovering around this spot all race long. He's only improved 1 spot from where he started, but you know, slow and steady sometimes does win you the race, and he's just watching everything in front of him. Still only 56 laps into this thing. No time to panic. Track positions, everything. It's got a little bit of track position down the upper portion of the field.
Look at the over-under there from Sebastian Kinder. Got the run on Rodriguez, but wasn't able to take it anywhere. Tried to make the look down to the turn 2. Whoa, boy! Round the outside of 3. I think, and he's going to turn Rodriguez hard into the wall. And that is game over for Rodriguez and possibly for my pick to win this race as well.
Yeah, he just took the wheels there off the exit of the corner.
Good grief. Looked like maybe just kind of lost track of where he was.
I think Rodriguez thought that Kinder was going to be closer to the wall. Kinder held a more narrow line out of the corner, and Rodriguez was coming up expecting him to get up at least closer to the wall. Kinder was more narrow than the car in front, and he was in a 2-wide battle. So I get why Rafael thought he would be a little bit wider, but at that point, I mean, I guess he kind of cleared himself, but I don't know. If I'm Rafael, I'm a little frustrated in that scenario because I feel like Seb came off the wall, and if I'm Seb, I'm irritated at Rafael because I feel like he cleared himself.
It's a massive hit right into the concrete as well.
All right, these leaders got to come to pit road. They just got to come to pit road. They've held out as long as they possibly could for track position. If they stay out, I'll be pretty amazed. Not sure what they have for fuel in these cars, if that's the case, but I can't imagine those that have stayed out this entire time, the top 6, not coming to pit road this time.
Sebastian Kinder is going to have to here because he's got no front nose cone on that car. And yep, here comes the top 6, top 10. Top everybody. Pretty much the entire field's coming to the pit road. One of the iconic motorsports drivers stays out. I believe that was Vesa Julha staying out. VJO in the number 96. Now, is a lap down, so probably going to be at a pit road this time by. The only lead lap car that stayed out, Robert Groscher, the 99. He'll take up the lead. He last stopped on lap 35.
Yeah, he's banking for the track position and another set of cautions to help him work this out. And also you see all those cars in front of him. They will get the wave around. So who's in front of him? Manzato, Eckert, Vesa. Who else is up there? Molnar. They will all get the wave around just before going caution if they don't come to pit road this time by.
Let's take another look at this incident. This one on board Sebastian Kinder.
It's weird. Whenever the contact's made, he's more narrow than the car in front of him. But he's in a two-wide battle, so you expect, whenever you're side by side, you're on the outside, you have to give more room to that guy on the inside than the guy in front that's single file has to give room to nobody, right? He can do whatever he wants. And there, I just feel like the 97 was too low on the track coming out of 4. That might just be my NASCAR side of things coming out. Because if it was NASCAR, it may drive out to the wall. In IndyCar, you just have more grip, so I understand the necessity of, or the need to kind of run it a little bit more narrow off the corner at times. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to place full blame on that one, but man, I would have liked to see the 97 give a little bit more room down to the inside there.
So I've just realized something. This helps out a lot of these cars that were a lap down. We just got a healthy handful of them back onto the lead lap because of that yellow flag. They are really hoping that there's another caution quickly so they can get back on cycle with the leaders.
Yeah, to kind of to echo on the assessment on the wreck, there are two thankless jobs in league competition here in iRacing. One's being an admin, truly a thankless job, and Robert, the leader right now, he knows what we're talking about there. The other thankless job, being a race steward. And I am glad I am not a race steward to have to decide what is to shake out from that situation coming off of turn 4. You could clearly see a lot of sides of the stories through the replays, but stewards are going to have to decide that one out.
The way I'm going back and forth, I feel like you just got to chalk it up to a racing incident. Both guys could have left a little bit more room. I almost wouldn't even put any penalty on anybody. It's just, well, they both got wrecked out. That's kind of the penalty, right?
One of those things
Robert's
where...
going to watch this restart. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Robert's going to watch this restart also with the older tires, 24 laps old. He cannot afford to have wheel spin here with a whole host of people behind him with fresh tires.
It's just one of those situations where one move leads to the next. No wheel spin for Robert Groscher off the hitch here. Great restart. 1.2 seconds clear. 3 wide for a second. Cameron Dance slings to the inside. And Dance, of course, several laps down. Not in it for a battle. The battle comes between Thomas Moosten and Ethan Hagen. He's even further down the field. So that was Moosten going 3 wide with 2 lap cars.
Yeah, there were a couple lap cars trapped behind Grosser that didn't get to take the wave around, and Moosten and Hagen get around them. One car, it's at 3 and 4.
That was Hans Pinkinen way up the racetrack. I think he just overshot the corner. I think he may have kept it out of the wall, or if he did, he really helped to mitigate the damage.
So again, the opportunities to pass here are slim and few. So what Thomas was doing is he knew he had to get around those lap cars, otherwise he was going to get stuck behind them. That's why you should see he was aggressive on that restart.
So Moosten off of turn 4, running strong. And further behind, here's a battle for position. Jan Hoffman up 13 along with Matthias Marcavini. Haven't really talked about either of these two drivers much today, but they've climbed almost half the field just by keeping their noses clean.
Hey, to finish first you must finish.
Ain't that the truth, especially in open wheel racing like this.
Oh, man. And on the ovals, I feel like the road courses you can get away with maybe just a little bit of contact. You're going to spin off and maybe get a little bit of damage. Man, these ovals, the walls on both sides, and the speeds being, just about 200 miles an hour entering turn number 1. The damage that you get whenever you do, right? Because just about terminal every single time. But here, Moosten in second. He's gotten about 3 or 4 tenths of a second off of Grosser's lead every single lap. Those newer tires, and obviously Moosten and Hagen, all these guys were the fastest of the bunch through the first 50 laps. They're kind of proving that to be true here, running down Grosser. I mean, at a ridiculous rate.
Yeah, Grosser can aero block though if he wants to, and that's kind of what he's doing through 2. He's staying to the bottom on 1 and 2, staying on the bottom, giving a full face of dirty air to Mustana. Now Mustana needs to pass him in 3 and 4 here, otherwise he's going to be stuck behind him for another lap. So he's going to dive down to the inside.
Trying for it.
Momentum.
Roach has got the run, but this is a drag race now. Nobody's got the ability to really fend these guys off, and Mustana gonna take away the race lead. So the icon of motorsports, number 22, back to the front. Robert Grosser will slip back into second and did not get the quick caution that he was hoping for. He's lost the lead, and now he's gonna lose second as well.
But he still has track position, and that's good. But I also saw with Mustana, and I want to illustrate this, is that it took a lap for him to set that pass up. You can't just pass here willy-nilly. You need, it really takes a better part of the lap prior to set it up in order to pull it off. And again, case in point, Logan had to take a full lap to set up that pass on Grosser for third. Ethan's just going to kind of capitalize and follow on through on that one. That was one of the more easier ones.
And I kind of want to bring up a little something with I didn't think we were going to be like this, but with the amount of cautions we've had so far in the early going, we're only 10 minutes away from the halfway point of the time limit, right? We've only got a 2-hour race here or 200 laps. We're not even close to the halfway point of the race yet, so I'd be...
Oh my goodness! Sorry to cut you off there. No, that's not gonna go. There's no way. You are kidding. Oh no, somebody's lost it in the background. No, they didn't. Pickett saves it 4 wide again down the back stretch into turn number 3. Still trying to pedal it, and I think we're going to get out of it unscathed.
Amazing. Everybody was grabbing that apron, and some just escaped to it.
That was...
If I was behind 8th place at any point in this race, I would be scared shitless. I'm telling you, I'd be shaking in my boots. I mean,
Marshall Stanley grabs the apron that time by.
Logan Simmons to the inside as well, and now we got to fight for the lead on our hands. So, Austin, you just need, for one, language. Second, you need to...
I'm just saying how it is, man. I mean, it's
I don't blame... for lack of a better term, right? I mean,
yes.
But it seems like they don't want you to be the analyst here because they decided, you know what? No, you're being... you're not allowed to give critical opinion here. We got a race.
Oh, my goodness. Anytime I try to kind of break something down, somebody does something absolutely ridiculous or just about wrecks. I mean, it's been pretty consistent so far tonight. But I am worried about that time limit.
Oh my goodness. Very so hold on. So that started all the way back in turn 3 because you just saw Rob Barnikel plow into the back of the 38 entry. That's what started all of this. That checks up the field and then just escalates into turn 3. Or what?
Who is that? Who's the purple car way at the bottom? It just about ended up being an insane move.
It was...
in the purple car.
Just clipped. Just
Matt
clipped the inside, though.
The 29.
I mean, he almost had that 4 wide inside move done into 1. He just clipped the apron like we saw Dance do earlier, and luckily for him, a lot better of a result than Dance. He got hit in the back, just didn't wreck along with the car that got him. But man, back up towards the front. Look at these 3, man, all line of stern coming through 1 and 2, and well, Aitken's not too far off either, and Johnny Garrett's gotten himself into the top 5.
It's about the biggest wreck that wasn't one right there.
Yeah, we have a saying on my on my own channel that when we cover the IndyCar Oval Series every Tuesday night over on P1, and that's apron bad. We don't really see very good come out of a situation when you grab the apron. Most of the time, it leads to something bad. But wow, those guys when they went to the apron, Marcamini, Stanley.
Let's be real, gentlemen. That was an inevitability. We knew this was coming eventually. It was just a case of who was going to break first. But apron bad, that's applicable to all forms of motorsports.
Yes.
What in the world?
Oh, Marcamini grabbed the wall going into the corner.
Yeah. I was wondering why he just stopped going down the front straightaway. I mean, Marshall Stanley couldn't do anything. The car in front just basically stopped after grabbing the wall, and Stanley just couldn't react in time. There's no chance that he had. None.
That was
yeah,
one.
That's the closing rate again.
That's one of the wildest series of about 5 to 10 laps I think I've ever seen in my life.
Did he have a wheel DC at all or something that...
I don't know. It's so weird. You don't usually see that happen at all. That speed. It almost looks like it, doesn't it?
Out the entry of the corner a little bit. Like he's like widening out to turn back in, and he just widened it too much.
Well, that takes Marshall Stanley out of the race as well. No, I think you're right, Austin. I think he was trying to open up the corner.
Which I don't think you... Why I'm confused about that is I don't think you need to do that in 1, right? Into 3, I understand getting a better... I definitely understand getting a better entry angle into turn 3 in certain scenarios, but down into 1, you're flat out, right? So, like...
He did have cars to his inside, so maybe he was just trying to give as wide berth as possible, knowing how netcode is with these things sometime.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's kind of what I agree. I think he was trying to make a wide turn into the corner and then grab the bit of the turn 1 entry wall on turn in.
So that was the initial hit right there. I think kind of all that really kind of set us up for disaster here. But I want to really get a chance to look back at this from a broader view as a whole. So this is the lap prior to that big melee we had in turn number 1. And we're going to fast forward this around to turn 3 because Andrea Giacometti gets run over by Rob Barnick out here in the middle of 3 and 4. Right here. I mean, I don't know what that was all about, but that was a beautiful save from Giacometti right there. And then, of course, it just continues to deteriorate all the way down to turn 1, where Matt Molnar gets into the side of one of the Chimera cars. Not sure who. I think it was Jamie Wilson, though, and Jan Hoffman nearly got collected in that as well.
Yeah, doing a little yard work there for Jan.
Pickenen had to take to the apron to go evasive to just get through the whole mess. And about 3 or 4 laps later, Marcomini got the wall. It's one of the weirdest instances I've ever seen in a situation like that. IndyCar race, man, it's something else.
I'm not sure how much radio chatter they allow in the league. That might be one of those things where someone in that group wants to say, yo, let's settle down, let's get in line, guys, because we're losing the leaders. It's just, otherwise you're going to wreck yourselves and take yourselves out. But
Austin, 19 cars on the lead lap. And still 25 before halfway.
Yeah, I was saying before that I'm getting nervous about the timer situation. I am very, very nervous about it now, right? We're going to get to the hour mark by lap 85, I believe, even if we run green from here on out. So
1 hour, 6 minutes, 25 seconds remaining.
Okay, you're showing a little bit more time than what my iRacing is showing. My iRacing is showing
You're
an hour and
probably
4
tracking the
minutes.
total session time, though, which includes gridding and that includes gridding and pacing. The race clock starts, though, at the green flag.
I'm still very nervous about it, though. I mean, 6
For
minutes
good
until
reason.
halfway at this point. And there's still 19 runners on the lead lap. A couple other guys out there, a couple laps down. Still plenty of cars that could crash. So this might end up turning into a timer race.
It hasn't happened yet on Green Flag TV, where we've had a Classic IndyCar Series race turn to the time. We've gotten close, most notably with a race at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, but again, not out of the realm of possibility. Green flag, though, back in the air.
Robert to the inside of Johnny. Robert with those ancient tires as relating to the other tires around him. 41 lap old tires versus 18 lap old tires with everyone else in the top 5.
Andrew Aitken looking to the inside of Ethan Aitken. He's going to pick up the number 3 spot coming down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. So a good run there for Aitken, while Aitken, boy, again, try saying that 5 times fast. Got top back in line behind, though, and you got first all the way down to 6th, separated within just a second of each other.
Rouse going way defensive down the backstretch.
Austin, I think, at a bit of a loss for words. But Holy cow, I mean, what a race we've been having this afternoon. Ethan Hagen, fastest lap of the race last time by for the driver, the number 20. And here we go for the lead. Simmons to the outside of Mustinen. Oh, we got one at the inside wall.
I think that's coming off of pit road, and they're well out of the way. I think that's Mark Amini trying to get back and make a lap or so and maybe make a position or two on the racetrack before parking it for the day. Now he's going to tow.
Austin, what do you think? Apron, too much throttle, or inside grass?
Well, it was inside grass. He had
Okay,
all
you
four
looked at it
tires on
already?
the apron, and then it turned into 2 tires on the apron, 2 tires on the grass, and
Hey, yep,
just
that'll
about
do
nothing you
it.
can do from that point on.
Lucky that wasn't a caution. He did a good job to at least keep that car pointed towards the inside.
He's trying to make sure we can run all 201 laps here.
So lap 81 of 201, almost 1 hour deep into racing action here this afternoon for the Pavement Recycling Systems 500K. Top 4 within half a second. Mustinen still hanging on, but as we've seen from the rest of this field, they are not going to be willing to let him have that one too easily.
No, Hagen and Simmons absolutely have something for Thomas Mustinen. They've just kind of all been biding their time, right? We are only on lap 82 out of 201, and even if we don't hit that lap counter, we still got an hour left in this race. So if you're Hagen, if you're Simmons, bide your time. Ride in second and third. You're not getting the payout right now. It's not like it matters that much. Just keep your car clean, keep the track position, and don't get back with the squirrels further back.
They're saving fuel. That's what they're doing. I mean, Thomas is not saving fuel by being the leader. He's punching the hole in the air. And Hagen and Simmons, they're just following and saving fuel, maybe even doing a little bit of lifting. If this does turn into a race where we get a long green flag run, that could be critical at some point, where Thomas is going to have to come pit road before everyone else. Hagen and Simmons could stay out for an extra couple of laps, maybe catch a caution. We'll see. I know the overcut is not powerful here, so maybe they do something different. Maybe they do come back. Maybe they decide to pit earlier than Mustinen and go for the short fill and then try an undercut. So I think they are setting themselves up for possibilities here.
Feels weird to be talking about lift and coast fuel saving strategy in draft like you would at the super speedway when we're running that a 1.5 mile race, but such is the nature of IndyCar racing at a draft heavy track like this. Yep.
Every race you start off in IndyCar, it isn't as how fast do I get to the front, it's how can I get to the finish with the least amount of time on pit road. That's going to generate you into a good finish more than likely. And so as soon as you take the green flag in IndyCar, it's a whole different mindset. It's save fuel, save fuel, save fuel. In other forms of racing, it's go fast, turn left, get me to the front. Not necessarily in IndyCar.
Sorry, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Hagen. He's just able to hold the bottom side of the racetrack better than Mustinen. And even in the dirty air, Hagen is letting the car rotate on the bottom side, even through turns 1 and 2 whenever you're supposed to be flat out the entire time. Hagen's just able to have a more narrow exit. Like, he's able to get the car straighter off of the exit of the corner. And while I don't think he's trying to pass Mustinen right now, like he said, saving gas, doing all the intricate strategy things that you got to do in the IndyCar races, but I just like what he looks like coming off of the corner to where, like, whenever they are actually full out racing, I don't know. I really like what I'm seeing from Hagen. He's not pushing that right front tire too hard.
Yeah, it looks like he's more in control of his race car and his race. He can do whatever he wants when he wants. That's what it looks like to me.
Giacometti and Strauss side by side, and in fact, Andrea Giacometti going to be dropping down through the field. He's going to lose out to Randy Shoemake as well. So North Sim Racing Italy going to be dropping 2 more positions, but still +1 on the day. At this point, if you really wanted to be up on where you qualified, you pretty much just need to be in the race still at this point. But a lot of drivers still looking to have their own little battles here, and I think we're seeing a lot of that same fuel saving that we see up front taking place in the midfield here as well. Although some drivers like Caleb Weekly clearly not wanting to save fuel, as Weekly trying to get to the point as he's going to go down the inside of Robert Grosser to 3.
Now, Robert's been out there longer than everyone else. He last stopped on lap 36. He's on 52 lap old tires. He's due on pit road in the near turn. So So even if he does get past here, he's on an entirely different strategy. He's not really worried now about maintaining a spot here and there. His thoughts now are, you know, how can I get to pit road, get on and off pit road, and try to make the rest of this race work on this alternate strategy.
His plan or what he needs to do right now might not be hold up the guys behind him. Like, that might not be his main goal. But with the older tires, I'm intrigued at how well he's been able to hang on regardless, right? He started in first. He's only fallen back to 6.
I don't mean to call it blocking, but it's just the whoa!
Oh, hello!
I spoke too soon.
What the heck happened there?
Make that 10th.
Yeah, you can do a lot in these cars at this racetrack when you're down. You can actually dial down the engine mapping quite a bit and still hold off the traffic in front of you, or behind you, excuse me, just by feeding them dirty air. Because remember, to pull off a pass here in a lot of cases, unless you made a mistake like Robert did getting loose last time by, oh, he just blinks out.
Yeah, I was going to say, it didn't look to me like he got loose. Like, the wheel just kind of straightened up mid-corner. I wonder if he's having a hardware problem.
Maybe. I don't want to see him DC, not when you're having a good effort like this, but a lot of times, as I was mentioning, it takes a better part of a lap or more here to set up a pass at Motegi in Indycar.
Well, on that same lap, down into turn number 1, Egan was able to get by Mustonen, and that kind of surprised me because I thought they were on the safe train, but Egan is taking position up the head of the field, not saving anymore.
Take a look. Watch this wheel here. Right about, see, right here, it just goes straight. There's no movement at all, so he didn't get loose.
Well, that's weird. I don't even know what to tell you. It's almost like his cat came and like knocked him on the side or something, so he turned and looked at it, and his hands came with him. I don't know.
And this was the pass for the lead.
Mustonen gave such a wide berth, I'm almost thinking he's just thinking, all right, now it's my turn to save.
Well, yeah, exactly. Thomas might have just said, you know what, I'm tired of being used here. And just, you know, give up a spot, tuck in behind, and he'll work on his fuel mileage for a couple of laps.
So Ethan Egan going to hang on at the head of the field now for the time being. Mustonen, though, keeping him honest, making sure that Egan knows he is still right there and he's ready to go back to war if it comes to it. And some side-by-side picking up deeper in the field as well. How about Johnny Garrett? Second place at the points entering racing action today. Felt very confident in his abilities to try and do well at the championship this season, but Weekly playing with fire there as they come off of turn 4. See Randy Shoemake behind, starting to enter the fray, and they're able to get a good chunk of green flag laps out of the way. And we've been talking quite a bit about the time limits the last 2 cautions that came out here, which does lead me, oh my goodness, as
Shoemake.
Yeah, getting a little bold there. Weekly bails
and moved on back. But yeah, Shoemake, a very shallow entry into 3 and 4, and you got to watch when you enter 3 and 4 very shallow. You're going to push up the racetrack, so you got to make sure the guy on the outside knows you're there. First of all, which sometimes they don't know. Here we go, 3 wide off the corner. Johnny Garrett.
Probably
coming to pit road.
I don't think this is going to end well at all. Robert Groschi eventually coming down to the lead. There's a Giacometti hard into the outside wall, and that'll be yellow flag number 7 of the afternoon. Right as Groscher takes the pit road, and he might get a penalty for that.
I think he literally hit the line
I think he did
half
too.
a second before.
I'm gonna watch.
Or sorry, after
boy.
the caution came out. Excuse me. I think he got the penalty by half a second.
That was a wild tank slapper for Giacometti.
There was no red light showing when he hit the line, so he is gonna. If everyone else stops on this, he's gonna cycle to the front.
So here goes Giacometti. Car just stepped around and snapped sideways and nearly took out both Caleb Weekly and Johnny Garrett. This is at speed, and look at how quickly this car just snaps on him. No chance of recovery.
So lucky for everybody else that he snapped right into that little hole between cars on the outside. didn't end up making contact with anybody else. That could have been a whole lot bigger on board with Weekly. This is the guy I was talking about. He just fits in this hole right between these two cars perfect. Scary.
So,
but hey, man, Grosser, if he doesn't get a penalty, that's going to turn out perfect for him.
So he's going to see the crash happen up the road. Now watch
dude, there's no way a yellow's not out, right?
Right there, the yellow flag is out. So the yellow flag does come out before he makes it to pit road. I don't know, man.
I didn't see the yellow or red lights come on the tree there.
I'm watching the flag stand, though, and he's waving that yellow flag by the time Robert Grosser hits the speed line.
Yeah, and the pits are closed immediately as soon as the yellow comes out. To my knowledge,
I do see the yellow lights flashing now, obviously, but Robert is going to cycle all the way to the front.
How about that? Lucky
and be
man.
On the same strategy, yeah, and be on this, unless there's a black flag that comes out at the start. I don't know, but he's going to cycle all the way to the front and be your new leader and be on the same strategy as everyone else. Everyone else is going to have to stop one more time after this, unless we're worrying about time. If we go distance, everyone needs to stop one more time. So with about 100 to go, they've been talking about doing these stints and about 50 for a stint. Just go to a 150 pit and call it a day. But we'll see.
So watching for the flag right there. So we're going to pause here, and I'm going to do some tricky camera work here. Take a look at that flag stand. Yellow flag in hand, yellow light is on, and he is definitely not at that speed line. By all accounts, that should be a penalty for entering a closed pit. So he got real lucky with that.
And we'll see. He's coming down to the race. He's coming down to the line here. It looks like he's letting traffic on by.
Now, the lucky thing is, it's probably only an end of the longest line penalty, which is a lot more recoverable from than a drive-through.
It definitely is, but it's still frustrating if you're Grosser, because if you get down pit road 3 seconds earlier, you're in the lead, right? I mean, instead of the lead, you're going all the way back to the back of this pack. I mean, it's still frustrating, but it could be worse, right? I mean, he could have had that entire pit sequence play out and him go a lap down and then have
and it's also possible that he had no choice. I mean, he could have had to come down pit road just because there was no other lap to give on that.
So, Gary,
Gary,
we've been talking a lot about time limits in this race. If we switch things over, this is the minutes to go counter. We're at 52 minutes. We're only just now hitting the halfway point at about 100 laps to go. At what point do we hit the point of no return on the clock? Or have we already hit that point?
Good question. I don't know.
30-second lap time, so 2 laps a minute. That is your answer.
Yeah.
Like if there's 50 laps left, you need at least 25 minutes under green is basically what you're looking at. So right now with 100 laps left, we need at least 50 minutes. We are ridiculously close at this point because we've got 51 minutes left and we need 50 under green. So I don't think we're hitting the lap counter unless we run green.
We have not run long enough to have a full run of green flag pit stops either, which is worth noting.
I'm close, but no, not made it.
Well, close enough that the drivers that were off cycle have had the chance to come down, but none of the front runners that pitted on the caution before. But the pace car is going to be down into pit road once again. We'll into the restart zone, and Jesse Manzotto takes us back to the green flag with Ethan Hagan in tow, and quite a bit of lap traffic in between them.
Oh, big shuffling as soon as they come across the start-finish line. 3 wide, coming down to 1. They get it sorted out. Just do a couple rows of 2. Hard racing at the beginning. Hagan already trying to claw back that gap to Manzotto. 1.2 back right off the bat.
I think Manzotto's racing to the timer now. He's still going to have to stop again. He pitted on lap 75. He's 26 laps into his stint. He's halfway through a stint. He's still going to have to stop 2 times, I think.
Well, and here's the thing. I don't think racing to the timer is even unreasonable at this point, because do we really think this is going to go green the rest of the way?
No. Not whenever they've been racing like this the entire time. I mean, it takes like 10 laps on tires, then all of a sudden they're slipping and sliding, they're having mistakes out of 2, they're getting all bunched up on top of each other in 3, 4, and it's open wheel cars, man. It just takes the tiniest little bit of contact, and all of a sudden you got a 3-car pile up, right? So I think we're going to continue wrecking with them being stacked up like this, like they have been all race long.
Looking for 3 wide down the main straightaway. Under 100 laps to go. And boy,
I think as we
what a race.
I think as we thin this field out, I think we might, the chances are going for a green flag, a long green flag run keeps getting better.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I'm
gonna say they're gonna be, and as they go on, these guys also want to make up as many positions as well and maximize on this race. And they see an opportunity, and the more yellow that falls into this race lessens the opportunity for a lot of these drivers. So they're gonna see. I think they're gonna start behaving a little bit better.
I mean, it does. The math does check out, right? I mean, fewer cars equals fewer chances to wreck. You've only got 18 on the lead lap. We're down to 20 on the racetrack out of the 29 that started this race. It's been a race of attrition this afternoon.
Yeah, it's like a good old-fashioned style kart era race, where you start with 30 cars and you end up with 8 at the end.
So, at risk of cursing the field again, seeing as all 3 of our picks to win this race are out of the race, do we have any new picks to win the race?
I'm afraid to pick. They're just going to wreck, right? I mean, I don't want to do that to anybody.
I'm not going to lie. I got big hopes in Ethan Hagen to win this one. I mean, he has been on fire today. He's been keeping Mustonen honest. Mustonen has not been able to break away from him. I think if anybody's got a good chance of winning this, it's going to be that driver, the number 20.
I'll back that up.
I'm not putting any bad juju on him.
Put bad juju on another driver then.
Why do you want me to wreck somebody? I'm so confused. Why do you want me to wreck somebody from the broadcast booth?
It's reverse psychology works. I predicted we would have a caution within 10 laps at Talladega last night. We went 50 laps green. It's reverse psychology. It works.
Okay.
Something about it works.
Logan Simmons.
All right, fair enough.
He wrecked something here, feels so terrible.
All right, circle on the telestrator, lap 107, and put his initials next to it. That's the lap he gives the jinx to Logan.
I'm a little nervous.
Again, not without reason. Heck, George Kirifides.
We do not have a good track record.
George Kirifides, in his first ever race broadcasting with us for SRN Saturday nights, he predicted somebody to win, said he was having a good night, and all I said was, what have you done? Sure enough, 20 laps later, crashed out of the race. So George didn't even last one race before he got his first taste of the commentator's curse. We still got a lot of side-by-side on the racetrack. Mustonen and Shoemake going at it. Johnny Garrett and Caleb Weekly are slicing and dicing as well. And what a battle that we are putting on this afternoon.
Oh, geez, what a block down the... That is a massive Pruitt fade by the 68. Johnny.
Yeah, no, that... we didn't see it necessarily on the camera. We definitely saw it on the timing tower as, well, we'll jump this one back a little bit further. Find out what in the hay happened here down the back. Okay, wow. No kidding. How about that? Look at the 16 down the inside of Matthias Strauss. No, not phased at all, and Johnny Garrett went for the perfect over-under out of 4.
So in IndyCar racing, that has been dubbed by Paul Tracy as the Pruitt Fade. And the Pruitt Fade named after Scott Pruitt, who the fade is exactly that. To kind of block, but not get caught for blocking. He kind of just fades in that direction and kind of makes you force it if you're going to go around them or just duck back in line. And it's legal, but it's always funny when you see the Pruitt Fade executed.
Several cars, double file, as we work our way down the front stretch, back into 1 and 2. Cesare Mazzato has really broken away from this field to the front. Yeah. I mean, these guys are fighting it out for second big time here, Austin, and Hagen and Simmons have just not been able to get to him.
Now he just needs to push. He needs to push every lap.
Oh, we appear to have lost Austin.
He knows his next stop is possibly his last stop. Well, everyone else still has to do Well, everyone else still has a stop too, but he's thinking his next stop is his last stop if we're looking at a timed race.
We do appear to have lost Austin Edstrom, so we'll hopefully get him back into the booth shortly. But right now, Manzato, Egan, Simmons, Mustinen, and Shoemake all under a blanket as the battle for second picking up in earnest as we battle back into turn numbers 3 and 4 this time around. And man, Shoemake misses the bottom.
And the fog is rolling in. That is fog. That is not smoke. That is fog. It is 94% humidity right now.
Partly cloudy skies, 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 66 down on the racetrack. Other way around, 66 in the air, 79 down on the racetrack. But yeah, fog rolling in. Japan's a humid country, right? Living right on the coast, so
this is in the mountains. This track was cut into the mountains as well. So this is, kind of. You've seen fog at Spa before. Well, now you're seeing Spa on an oval. So we're going to turn ourselves into our very own fog bowl now. Bears and Eagles be damned. But do not adjust your computers. That is fog that is rolling in. So now we got very dense air. That's going to actually help the downforce in these cars. And if this was real racing, we would actually see contrails off the back of their wings.
I've seen those types of contrails, even off the back of winged 410 sprint cars on some of the faster dirt tracks like Volusia. It is something else to see that, because usually
it is very cool. Yeah,
it's the only real way that a TV camera can really lend to you the sense of absolute speed that these cars can rip around. Because again, having seen stuff like Flight 410 sprint cars in the real world, it's one of those things where I feel like IndyCar is much the same way. No TV camera, whether it be one of these trackside cameras or an onboard camera, it never does it justice until you actually see it for yourself.
Yeah, it just tells you how much downforce these cars actually produce. They are turning mist into water vapor behind them. Shoemake flashes out. He has not returned.
No. He's up to 6 now, so he is back.
He's returned.
But only after a good long moment, so that'll be one to watch out for as well. Good news is he's in a healthy bit of no man's land between the battles for 2nd and 7th, respectively. The Iconic Motorsports driver in and ready to go, and Austin Edstrom, I do believe you have managed to rejoin us after a brief technical failure. How's things looking for you?
Oh, we're all good now. I just love technical difficulties. It's just my favorite pastime. I just absolutely love fiddling with my computer, trying to get everything to work. It's just so much fun.
It's the fog.
Hey, at least you didn't have to go through a whole system reboot like we did last night, so could be worse.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just Discord. It could have been iRacing too. But we're all good. We're all good.
Well, racing action.
Hopefully I didn't miss anything.
No, not much. It's been honestly quite tame these last little while. I mean, Randy Shoemake had a brief flash out for a moment, so that was a little bit scary, but he's back in now, and Weekly's starting to slip.
So also what this fog will do is it'll bring down the track temp and should help on the tire deg as well. So they should get better wear. So actually for Manzato, the longer he goes into this run versus earlier in the race when we saw those cars that had 50, 60 laps nearly on a stint of tires, he's actually getting better wear out of these tires now with the cooler track temp. So he's 47 laps into his stint. We expect him to come to pit road probably in the next 10 laps or so.
As well as that, Thomas Mustinen has just picked up the number 2 spot. So with a lot of racing still yet to be done here from the Mobility Resort Motegi, we're going to take a chance here to get a quick swing back. We'll make sure to help thank the guys, get the lights on here for the Classic IndyCar Series presented by VRS Setup Shops, and we'll be back in a moment on Greenfly TV. Welcome back to Green Flight TV. Thomas Mustonen to the inside of Cesare Manzato, trying to go for the lead of the Pavement Recycling Systems 500K from Ability Resort Motegi. Manzato hangs on. And if you're just tuning in on both Green Flight TV and ESTV, my name is Ola Rempel alongside Austin Edstrom and Gary Godso. If you've missed the race so far, don't you fret. You can catch up on all of the races on ESTV. You can check them out when they rebroadcast the race on all of their distribution platforms at estv.co. Battle's on for the lead, though.
Side by side coming out of turn number 4. Manzato doing a good job hanging on, even with those older tires, and we know that he's going to have to come down pit road in the next 5 or 10 laps or so. But man, he's doing a great job. A little bit of a Brazilian clear, but then he got tight, had to push up the racetrack, and here comes that 22, Mustonen down to the inside. He's going to take the lead out of 2.
I think he wanted to shut the door, and he thought that was going to be too close to do that.
That said, he's still got a good drive around the outside of turn 2, and now still holds the outside at 3, still holds the outside at 4, almost into the wall. Look at Manzato driving back to the point. He clears as they get down to turn number 1, chops across the front wing again of the iconic Motorsports number 22. Manzato is not giving this fight up so easily.
54 laps into his stint.
This is impressive, man. I can't believe he was just able to stay around the outside after turns 1 and 2, be able to get a big enough run to get back to the outside in 3 and 4, and now it's just done it again. Cleared him even easier out of turn number 4 that time. How about Cesare Manzato? If he gets another 2 cautions, I think we run this thing to the timer instead, and that very well could play into that number 4's hands. He's got some pace, man. He's staying up here even with older stuff.
Here comes the sun burning off that fog.
So the fog did not stick around for long, did it? As you immediately see things start to clear up. Simmons clears across it. There's 3, 4 wide down the front straightaway, and it's going to be Ethan Hagan to back out down low. Molnar, though, will take them 3 wide. What an awesome
This is the guy
race.
that started at the back of the field. 26 spots.
What the heck? Where's Molnar come from? I mean, we haven't seen this pace out of him all night long, and he's just all of a sudden up here with the rest of his, or with his other teammate Mustonen, and they are all over the back bumper, or will be soon, of Manzato. Well, they'll honestly just get the race lead here in a couple laps whenever Manzato pits, but man, Matt Molnar from absolutely nowhere, big move down to the inside, up to 2nd place.
We've seen 4 wide, what now, like 5, 6 times in this race? I mean, again, the track allows for it, and boy, what an awesome...
I will one-up you there. There was a race here in the Lionheart Retro Series, which is the Lotus 79, and they went 5 wide down the backstretch, and it ended up being a huge wreck.
Okay, well...
And the reason why is that there is no call-out for 5 wide.
There's not even a call-out for 4. Oh, dear.
So the driver that caused the wreck actually in Discord said, I didn't even know I was 5 wide because there is no call out for it.
Well, now that these guys have gotten single filed out again, Manzato is starting to lose that time. Back to Matt Molnar. So Molnar trying to run him back down, and while this is going on, we'll quickly check in on this 4-way fight as well. 4-6 between Strauss, Weekly, Shoemaking, Garrett.
They're racing. They want to race. They need to get organized. They got to run down that group in front of them.
Oh,
and they got to run that group.
Here we go. Manzato's pitting.
Pit road.
So, Austin, that's going to shake up the front runners a good bit.
Yeah, it's going to hand the lead over. But again, if this thing runs green to the end, like we said under that last caution, we will just finish on, or finish the amount of laps here as we're side by side entering turn number 1, Caleb Weekly on the outside. But if we run this thing green, Manzato will have to pit again. But man, if he just gets, I think 2 yellows. I think he needs 2 yellows the next 55 laps, and he could very well win this race.
If this is a timed race, this is his last stop right here, last scheduled stop. If this goes green to the end, he's going to have to splash it with about 25 or so to go.
For reference, we got about 34-ish minutes to go. Might be about 35 or 36, but the point is, it is nerve-wrackingly close on the time limit right now. So yeah, 1 more yellow or 2, and this race will turn into a timed race. part of why I'm glad this race has gone green for the last little while, right, is the fact that we get to see this race play out on a broader stage.
Well, we've gone green since the restart. Now, there was a little bit of overlap with the caution for Manzato, so he was able to go 60 laps under that stint. The current leader's now at 38 laps under this stint. I expect the leaders to be more closer to the 50 mark, so maybe another 12 more laps before they have to come to pit road. 12 to 15, something like that, before they have to come to pit road for their next stop, and then that will cycle the field back to Manzato. Now, Manzato, meanwhile, he's got to really push it and then hope for no cautions during this this overlap period, because he needs to really get that track position and bust out in front of these leaders when they come to pit road.
So Strauss, Weekly, Shoemake run 5th, 6th, and 7th. And look at these guys. These guys are in the middle of their own battle. And holy cow, huge block from Matthias Strauss, who is on 24 spots this race. Definitely doing a little bit of mirror driving there, Austin. Not typically advised in IndyCars.
You got to do what you got to do, right? We are coming down towards the end of this thing. Well, I say that. We still got 60 laps left. Still plenty of time to pick up the spots. But hey, man, if you find yourself in a position, maybe you just want to, put those elbows out a little bit, hang on to that spot. And we are coming down to the last set of green flag pit stops. So, I mean, every position does kind of start mattering at this point even more. I know we've been talking about track position a lot through the night, how much it matters. But right now, we are getting down to the nitty gritty. Whenever you're going to be fighting for positions, it's going to be, starting to happen right now. I'm honestly going to be surprised if we run green the rest of the way.
This group is losing time to the leaders. They got to get organized.
I mean, they've been losing time lap after lap after lap after lap. In fact, if we compare the time of Strauss to Egan up the road, you can see they're losing, we're talking at some points upwards of a quarter a second a lap. Now, they aren't starting to, this lap by, they were able to pick off a few thou, but
they did.
It's one of those situations, though, where you got to get organized. You can't be fighting each other this much and expect to be able to make progress.
Yeah, 3.1, 3.2 from Strauss up to Egan. And they got to do this now. They got to get there before the pit stops, and I don't think they're going to do it. They're just not working well together right now.
So you got a battle for 1st through 4th, 5th through 8th are in the blanket as well. Andrew Aiken and VJO are in a bit of a loose battle of their own. And, Robert Grosch has gone around to the front straightaway, and we don't get a caution for. We will stay green. From the look of that front nose cone, I'm willing to bet he has found the inside wall.
Grosser used a little bit of strategy to find some track position through the night in certain times. Just trying to kind of pick his way back into contention, and coming out of 4, just back in, steps out on him, honestly sideways from about the midway point of turn 4. Never got that thing back under him.
And that's going to force the 9-9 down to pit road and very much out of this race, most likely. Because remember, that front nose cone doesn't typically get repaired with that bug that's been on iRacing for a good little while. It was still in play at Phillip Island 3 weeks ago. It'd be a big shame if it takes him out of the race here. So we'll see, does he stay in the race car? That's going to be the big ticket question. Still in it for now. So clearly Robert thinks he can still get out there and make some progress. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
There's one of the yellows we were looking for, and that is Mellis hard into the wall of the front stretch.
And the timing of that caution actually hurts Manzato. He's a lap down, so he's going to have to take the wave.
Yep.
Oh,
right with the middle of that second group of leaders.
So this is one of the Bounty Hunter cars for the number 23 coming off of turn 4. And
late. And then the ping pong effect. Yep.
And oh my good word. He definitely should have taken Randy Shoemake with him, but I think Shoemake's connection actually saved him there, because you definitely saw him careen into the side, but Shoemake never moved.
And I think here, you're going to watch him come out of turn number 4. He gets a little bit too high. I imagine he had to put a little bit more wheel into it because he thought he was going to hit the wall. As soon as he comes, out of the little bit of banking we have down that little hill you see, the back end just stepped out as the banking went away.
And they are right on the edge of making a final stop and getting it to the end here.
This is Johnny Garrett from what he saw. Gonna get another look at that, because that, I feel, was a lot closer than it looks like. As watch that blue car up the road, shoots to the inside, rebounds up the racetrack, and then just by the skin of his teeth able to get around that. Maybe a foot or so for a margin of error.
Everybody to pit road. This is right at the edge of being able to make it the distance.
And the time.
Yeah.
Wins the race off pit row. Matt Molnar is already on his way out. And he's going to do it. So the Canadian gets out in front. A wild race this has turned into this afternoon. An absolutely stellar drive from this field, and once again, the VRS Classic IndyCar Series does not disappoint to throw up drama, but there is drama elsewhere on Green Flag TV, as coming on up later on this afternoon, the SRL Xfinity Series presented by Purple Haze Autosports swings out to their next race. That is very much old information from several weeks ago at this point. But they will be out of the Martinsville Speedway. Derek Watson is in the booth with me later on this afternoon. And then on Monday, Austin, you're back to the booth with me for the Guardian Autosport 250 at Daytona International Speedway for the High Tide Racing League Guardian Premier Series. The OMSRL Cup Series will swing out to see who can tame the Lady in Black at Darlington. The OMSRL Cup Series on Tuesday. So lots coming on up, and well, this is just one of many.
Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow night with the High Tide Racing League, the season opener. Obviously, we had the dual races a week ago, and those were really good shows, both completely different races, even though they're two races lined up to be the exact same, but they end up being completely different shows, with strategy being paramount in the first one, and then just crazy racing in the second. Got to imagine the 250 tomorrow is going to be pretty insane. And well, we still got another 25 minutes to go in this one. That's I imagine it's going to get insane. The pitting is done. The top 5 or so are all relatively close enough on speed to where I honestly think any of them could kind of put themselves up here and win. I don't know, the last either 25 minutes or 53 laps are going to be amazing, whichever one we get.
Who knows at this point, right? I mean, this could very much go either way.
It's timer.
Is it? Have we crossed the threshold?
It is like right now. I think there's going to be 20 seconds left in the race whenever we finish the last lap. Maybe. It's like give or take 20 seconds on the zero.
We'll keep the lap counter up for now. Track our progress. But yeah, it's dangerously close. Matt Molnar, though, the Canadian, leads us back to the green flag. 17 cars remain on the lead lap. And Manzato hoping for a quick yellow here so we can get back up on cycle with the leaders.
Already single filed out down into turns 1 and 2. The entire field just about already lined up nose to tail. And this stint's about 54 laps, so maybe right at the edge of their fuel window, right? If we do make it all the way, it's really, really close on the fuel window. So we could see some saving throughout the field in the early going as well.
Well, if I'm Matt, I don't want to be out there punching a hole in the air for everyone behind me to definitely make it to the end. So we'll see how long he wants to lead. He might just say, hey, look, I'm going to push. I'm just going to push, and let the cards fall where they may.
Well, because here's the thing. If you get a yellow flag, you don't need to go 55 laps.
And at that point, you would hate it if you would have given up the lead to try to make it to the end, and then a yellow comes out that is like, man, I didn't need to give up the lead. So if you're Molnar, you're kind of in a darned if you do, darned if you don't situation, right? I mean, what do? Do you get back and save gas and hope for this thing to run green, or do you stay out front and hope for the yellow?
I'm a racer. I think Racer's going to race. I say push.
Oh, Logan Simmons looking for the inside, and he's not going to commit to it. His teammate, Ethan Aiken, though, going to sling one to the inside of Thomas Mustonen. So, Team Watson going to be breaking up the iconic motorsports duo.
2x2, 3 rows deep, mid-pack.
The front runners hoping they can maybe gang up on Matt Molnar in the lead. While the rest of the field fires off at turn number 2. And here we go for the lead. Molnar under fire, Simmons up top. Trying to go around the outside of 3 and 4. And Simmons takes the lead.
Yep.
Logan Simmons, I mean, he's just kind of bided his time in the top 3 this entire race, and his teammate Ethan Aiken is going to follow him through down to the bottom side of the racetrack. So now we got 2 teammates leading the way at the front of the field coming out of turn number 2. Aiken all over the back bumper. His teammate is Simmons, but he's got some company down low. The 22 looking down the inside. Mustonen's trying to take second.
Thomas
No place to go. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying Thomas Mustonen is not ready to give up on his fight for the lead just yet, as he is really pushing to keep whatever spots he can muster. I think knows that a caution could very well be imminent if things pick up elsewhere in the field, so he's trying to keep whatever spots he can get.
No place to go on that last lap for Ethan on the high side, because he was just kind of trapped there in the dirty air. Didn't really give them very many options, and that, as you see, it's cost them the better part of a couple positions now over the last lap and a half.
Deeper in the field, some drivers were looking for 3 wide, and Jan Hoffman getting a little bit close there with Jamie Wilson, and VJO still sits in the wings as well. This is the scrap for the last one inside the top 10, and a late block going to send VJO almost onto the apron.
You definitely don't want to enter a turn 3 down all the way on the white line. VJO pushing up through the center of the corner, going to lose a little bit of ground on exit as well. You just do not want to narrow up your entry
in the 3, and that's exactly what happens. You just pointed out exactly the bad side of entering 3 very shallow.
And now for the lead again. Mustonen has caught Simmons inside, fighting, can't clear. Simmons drives back around him on the high side.
Big run off the top. But Thomas has the position and the preferred line through 1 and 2.
He can just hang on to that right rear, though. He can get the run down the back and do it again through 3 and 4. That outside line's been good through 3 and 4 so far, and it looks like Simmons, he's still just barely there, if there. Coming down into turn number 3, fired in deep, trying to stay. No, he's going to actually back up the corner, going to go side by side with Strauss down on the bottom of the racetrack here through 3 and 4, not be able to challenge Mustonen that time.
Thomas Mustonen still maintaining his strong momentum here in this one. Meanwhile, Robert Groscher has taken a pit road for what would be one of his last stops of the afternoon. And Simmons still looking for the outside. And I think Mustonen is making this very clear, right? If you want to get around me, you're doing it the hard way.
Well, the hard way is the easy way. Car on the wall.
That's Johnny Garrett slowing rapidly on the front straightaway. Everyone's going to miss him. No yellow yet. Now the caution comes out. And gentlemen, officially, this race is decided on the clock.
Yep. Now, that gets Manzotto back on terms with the rest of the field, right, in terms of strategy. He can come down and actually have a little bit newer tires, so maybe Manzotto could make up some ground off of the new rubber, but ultimately still a lot of guys he's going to have to go through. But out of 4, you can say just way too tight.
Field did a good job to miss him, though. Ninth caution of the afternoon. 41 laps to go when we take the line next time by. And I think it's safe to say we can officially switch this over to our timer as 18 minutes to go.
Yeah, 40 laps left in this thing, 30 seconds to make a lap at this point. Now it says 18. It's going to be like just over 18, right? It shows 18 for 18 to 18:59, I think. So a little bit more than 18 minutes left on the clock. At this point, 30 seconds per lap. You're not completing 41 of these things. So we are going to be completing this one on the timer. Again, kind of unfortunate timing with the caution flags for Manzato. If they would have came out at a different point, he very well could be up here racing these guys for the lead. Instead, he's going to be, settling back in 15th, just trying to come back through the field for a top 10. But nonetheless, we're still going to get a crazy show up at the front, especially now that we know you don't have to save a little bit of gas to make it all the way to the end. We're going on timer. It is full out pushing.
Yeah, no more fuel save. Sprint to the end, whatever the end is.
So 17 minutes on the clock, and most drivers continue to stay out. We'll take another step back, and when we return, it's the green flag once again on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV for round number 2 of the Classic IndyCar Series presented by Virtual Racing School. The Pavement Recycling Systems 500K. As racing action getting set to draw to a close this afternoon. 15 minutes are on the clock, give or take about 60 seconds or so, as we have officially crossed the threshold of no return in this replication from the kart race on April 10th of 1999.
My repick hasn't wrecked yet, so that's good.
So far. There's still time. There's lots of time.
Still a little ways to go.
A lot can happen in 15, 14 minutes thereabouts. So when they crossed over from 15 to 14, by the way, that means that it just took under 15 minutes to go. So we really have about 14 minutes and 45 seconds right about now. So the green flag back in the air this time by green flag is up in the air, and once again we rocket towards turn number 1.
Aiken, Weekly, they got all bound up. On the restart, there's a wreck.
Oh, no! Heavy into the wall. One upside down on top of the safer barrier. That's Andrew Aitken. That has gone for a vicious tumble.
Both these guys are running in the top 10. They were both having great nights. To have it all come to a head like this with 14 minutes left on the clock. Tough break for Aitken and Weekly.
Oh, apron. Aiken just grabbed the apron, unfortunately, that we've seen before in turns 1 and 2. And Weekly, he had to come out of the throttle, and same thing before. Weekly just nowhere to go.
And Aitken goes up and over. Second flip of the year. The first one was from Willie Schwabauer, the pole sitter from the Phillip Island race. And this is our first oval flip. We almost had one earlier tonight. But this is the first full one, and this is the wreck at speed.
Right on the apron. And this just plays into Logan's hands now as the timer just ticks. It's just more time he spends out front, that timer ticks down, just makes this race shorter and shorter and shorter.
And when that car goes on you, it just goes, doesn't it?
Well, when you grab the apron, yeah. And again, it comes back to why we got the saying apron bad. Anytime you grab that apron, yeah, there it goes.
A little too much downforce in these things.
And it was VJO that clipped
to be
him
able
to
to get
send him
down there.
over. It's a wild scene, and we'll ride on board with Aitken. And what he saw is he was upside down.
Thank goodness this is a virtual race.
For sure.
Without any halo protection, I would have hate imagine that that was a real wreck.
Oh, they would have had the aero screen. They'd be fine.
Not on these cars, they didn't.
Well, we wouldn't be
today,
racing these
yeah.
if it was real life. We would not be racing these if it was real life. Come on now. These are probably outlawed by this point for racing.
The way it goes to the safer barrier.
We need to have like a one race a year in real life where it's literally a throwback race. Like I know NASCAR does their throwback weekend. That's this weekend. But man, we need to like legitimately run the old cars for a weekend.
There used to be a league. There used to be an IndyCar league that did that for real. It was called the American IndyCar Series, and they would take old chassis from the teams and they would reuse them and put a stock block in them. That's where several drivers that have raced in the 500 have cut their teeth. Buddy Lazier, the Lazier family did there. Bill Tempero, I believe, was the owner of that series. He raced in at least one Indy 500. But they would take the old cars, put a stock block engine in them, and they would go to oddball racetracks like that you wouldn't see IndyCar at normally, like Indianapolis Raceway Park or Nashville, not Super Speedway, but the Fairgrounds, and some other tracks that you normally wouldn't see IndyCars at, and they would race the older style IndyCars at. That was through the 80s and early 90s, and it's no longer around, but it was called the American IndyCar Series, and they did do that.
We need to bring it back. Whenever I win the lottery, that's my goal. That's my number one to do on the to-do list.
As Keith Berman used to like to say, if you watched any old replays of Sports Center in tight games when the clock was ticking, tick, 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 their clock keeps going, and we're not racing, and this is just playing in the Logan Simmons hands.
So about 10.5 minutes on the boards. And we will definitely not be getting the last 40 some odd laps in that duration. So at this point, it's just a question of how many laps can we squeeze in. And will this race be ending under the yellow flag as three flags out this
VJO
time
has a black flag.
Oh, heads up. We're checking up a little bit back here and looking like we're going to be good.
Yeah, Vesa has a black flag back in 8th. Not sure what happened there on the restart.
Simmons, Musin, Molnar, Aiken all getting away, scrambling through the top runners. Oh, we got one car way down low. That is VJO coming down a pit road, so accepting the black flag given to him.
Tough break for VGO, especially, getting this entire race done and then 10 minutes left, you get a black flag on a restart. Goodness. From the top 10, I mean, incredibly frustrating if you're VJO.
And the fog rolling in again.
And that sets the mood quite nicely for an increasing battle for the top spot between Logan Simmons and Thomas Mustinen as they fire through turn numbers 3 and 4. Back to the front straightaway. Mustinen looked for the inside that time by, but Simmons held firm.
Ethan, purple lap that time by.
And Mustinen's going for it. He's got the run.
Here comes Mustinen.
To the inside of the racetrack, and the icon of motorsports number 22 screaming for it into 3 and 4. No dice though. Logan Simmons going to fight him around the top.
Yeah, but he's got the position. Now he has a tuck back in line, but he had the position to get it to complete it through 1 and 2 if he could stay to the bottom and parallel to him, but not able to do that. Those resets. Look at Thomas just turned down on a corner exit
got Logan pinned up top, and Logan Simmons still just barely out in front at the stripe.
3 wide almost, wow. Ethan almost sets it there at the bottom, but he's going to follow through and get the position on his teammates.
Oh boy.
Simmons from the lead to 4th. Tough corner there for him, but Mustonen back to the race lead.
Boy, Molnar! Sorry, Molnar with a sin. It's worth noting, you got 4 drivers, 2 teams that are going at it here, just back and forth like it's nothing. Tell you what, Austin, I mean, this race has been phenomenal, but we are in for, I think, one of the wildest finishes you and I have called in this series. This could easily shake up to be more wild than the Indy 500 finish we had at the end of last year.
More wild than Indy 500.
Yeah, we got 5 people under a blanket with 7 minutes to go. I mean, the only thing that could throw this off is we get under 5 minutes to go and a caution comes out, right? This race could very well end under the yellow flag as the time goes away. So you got to get that position right now if you're Simmons. You cannot wait until the last lap.
Caution laps around 1.5 minutes apiece. Now, I've started another timer that does give you the seconds. Now, this is give or take 5 to 10 seconds or so, but in theory, we should have around 6 minutes and 35 seconds to go. I think we could still squeeze one more yellow and then get back to race with a 2 or a 3 lap dash.
Yeah, we typically get about, what, 3 laps under caution? Is that what we've typically been averaging? Yeah, 3 laps under caution. Like you said, 1.5 minutes. So you're thinking 4 minutes and 15 seconds to 4 minutes and 30 seconds that you're spending under the yellow flag. So right now, we would be able to get a restart, but we're coming up to the point where we wouldn't. So Simmons is thinking, man, I have got to get this spot from Mustonen, and I've got to get it right now.
Hey, Manzotto has worked his way up to 6th.
What?
Cesare Manzotto now in the wings, although he is 2.8 seconds back. So he's in a battle of his own, but I don't think going to be in a real position to fight it out with the leaders. Here goes Simmons again. Logan Simmons making the dive, looks to the inside, sends that one in deep into turn numbers 3 and 4 this time around, but no dice. Or does he?
He's in position to get the position completed here. Oh, Thomas is going to crowd him a little bit. Now, Matt follows through. He just tucks back in. He's going to follow Logan through. Logan was in position. Now Matt just turns the car a little bit more off the corner exit. He goes to the inside now.
Matt Molnar down to the bottom side of the racetrack as this field scrambling, fighting for everything they've got underneath them. 3 wide for a moment down the front straightaway, and we have 5 minutes to go.
Not much time, still racing hard. Oh, Simmons able to hang on to the lead, but man, Molnar's all over the back bumper. He's looking to the inside out of 2, not quite there.
Now, if Logan wanted to, he could go down the backstretch and lend a little draft help to Ethan, but he's not. We're too late in the race to be helping out teammates now. It's everybody for themselves.
Ethan Hagen still very much in the mix, though, as he will find his way to the number 3 spot. Mustonen dumped off of the podium. Now, Molnar trapped in a Team Watson Racing setup sandwich. He's going to look to the inside. Molnar again with a big run down the back straightaway into turn number 3. And Molnar takes the top spot, but Logan Simmons backing out. He's trying to set up an over-under.
And Simmons get him back, coming down the 1. Look at the big block down the front straightaway. Molnar, he's trying to keep the lead. If the caution comes out, the race is over. He's able to hang on to it as we go down into 1. Simmons is going to have to find a hole here in 2nd and try again down the back.
That was legal. That wasn't blocking. Now it's the defensive move.
You get 1.
You get 1, exactly, just like Spider-Man says.
And Simmons with his teammate down low, trying to see if they can now cover off both lanes. Molnar's not having it. Molnar's got the drive. He's going to shoot for the inside and return number 1. Egan could not fight him. You got the Canadian, 2 Americans, and then, of course, you got the Swede and the Finn in the mix of this as well. Matthias Strauss, don't forget about Strauss. He's now in the party and ready to go to war.
Oh, wow, Strauss is going to do the worst. He's trying to do the worst to first. Molnar is doing the second worst to first.
Both those guys starting at the back of the field, 28th and 29th for Molnar and Strauss, respectively. Now in the top 5 with Molnar looking to hang on to the lead. Just under 4 minutes left to go. The caution flag comes out. This thing is over. Molnar trying to just hang on to it, hope and pray that the yellow comes out while he's out front. But man, they got to run down the back on the top side of the racetrack. Logan Simmons trying in the draft, not going to be able to do anything down to 3. Egan with a big dive down to the bottom, trying to get side by side. He is for 3rd, trying to take it away from Mustaine.
Roughly 2 minutes, 45 seconds to go here in this one. All the cars bobble off of turn number 4 as we fight to the front straightaway, and Molnar is right there. Out of all of these drivers, man, I mean, there is so much that could be said for the level of competition that is in this field. Logan Simmons desperately sending that one to the bottom side of the racetrack, trying to see if he's got anything for this field.
And the rest of the field is rather spread out. I don't think the yellow is going to come from anywhere else. Only a 2-car battle for the 7th place position going on right now. This is the most important battle on the racetrack, and we got 5 cars under a blanket for the race win with under 2 minutes remaining.
Matt Molnar.
Race control has said, do not race the leaders if you're lap traffic.
Matt Molnar has never won a Classic IndyCar Series race. Logan Simmons only has 1 on the boards. We've got less than 2 minutes to go. A big block down the front straightaway. Logan Simmons back to the inside. He takes it away from Molnar. You can feel the anticipation building. A minute and a half to go. Ethan Egan now. Look at Egan to the inside. Where did Egan come from? The driver with 57 starts under his belt. Now trying to rip to the point.
Pennins was with a pretty good lead, though, coming across the stripe that time. Still no white flag. Still time left on the board. Egan down on the bottom by himself, trying to get this spot from Molnar through 1 and 2. He's got to get it done here through the flat-out corner. It looks like he's going to be able to do it. He's got to clear him coming off to be able to get the run. No, instead he goes down to the inside of his teammate. Not quite side by side, but getting the push from the 22 down to 3.
1 minute to go in this one as time is running out quickly. Logan Simmons out wide. He's able to pick up the top spot, though. Coming down to the wire. 40 seconds on the clock, just about. Give or take a couple. Does anybody have an answer for Logan Simmons? Simmons trying to become a repeat winner in the Classic IndyCar Series. Only 1 win under his belt. Coming from Vegas, trying desperately, looking for some way to try to fight through and take a win. That race win came over 4 years ago, trying to see if he can finally take another one. Off of turn number 4, looking for the white flag this time by. Could be the final lap. Thomas Musanen. Musanen in line, Simmons in line, Egan in line, and Logan Simmons fighting with everything he's got. Ethan Egan, many wins under his belt. He looks to the inside, side by side, down the back straightaway. Musanen trying to make it 3. Round the top side of 3 and 4. Simmons, can he hang on? He's got 1 more corner, so close. Turn 4. Logan Simmons hangs on to win. And it's a Team Watson Racing Setups 1-2 finish at the Mobility Resort Motegi. But what a fight for the field behind. For Molnar, he'll have to wait a little bit longer to get win number 1.
Good job. Excellent.
That was insane.
I'm just happy we got to run green. And my guy didn't wreck that I picked. So the curse is over. We're good.
Wild.
Good. I mean, what a drive. What a drive from the 92.
Win number 2 for him. Wow, that's a big deal.
First win since October 10th, 2020. A good 4.5-year drought.
Burn it down. Go ahead. You earned that one.
Oh, there goes the rear wing. I don't think the car's going to pass tech anymore.
He doesn't need it anymore. It's all right.
You got to pass tech inspection.
No. We do tech before the race in our racing.
Absolutely wild. And keeping in mind, this is his second win across all of the leagues that he's got on his Sim Racing Hub profile. He's got over a dozen leagues in there, and this is still only his second win.
shocks me because he was so good last year. He was so fast.
He was consistent.
47 starts in the Classic IndyCar Series, and this is his second win. So start number 48.
A wild finish, and really glad that one got to play out under green flag conditions. Let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon. Logan Simmons takes up the top spot alongside Ethan Hagan. Thomas Bouston was in third, with Matt Molnar back in fourth. From there was Matthias Strauss in fifth, Cesare Mansato in sixth, Randy Schumacher in seventh, Jen Hoffman in eighth, Jack Turner, Jamie Wilson rounding out the top 10.
11th was Hans Pikkinen with Adam Eckert in 12th, Franz Josef Stuman 13th, VJO 14th, Johnny Garrett rounds up the top 15 with Andrea Giacometti in 16th, Andrew Aitken 17th, Caleb Wigley 18th, Robert Groscher and Stefan Mellis round out the top 20.
Moving on down towards the back portion of this field. 21st place, it's Cameron Dance. We're now at the cars that didn't even make it to the halfway point. Marshall Sam 22nd, Matthias Marcomini in 23rd, Barnacal 24th, Sebastian Kinder in 25th, Rafael Rodriguez at 26th, Henry Bennett, one of the odds-on favorites to win this race, finishes down to 27th with Alexander McBean, and Lucas Santos, bottom of the charts, down in 29th. Well, a wild race and a wild finish indeed. Didn't get all the laps in, but boy, they still managed to put on a show for us down at the tail end of this one. And we'll get a chance now to give a chit-chat here to Logan Simmons, who comes home with his first race win since 2020. Logan, it is a very, very big day for you. Your first win in a good 4.5 years. This is something else. You are now a repeat winner, but this one did not come easy.
Bro, that is crazy what we did for those last few laps. Oh my God. Like, I don't even know how to describe that. That felt like we were at Texas in 2001, something like that. But at Motegi, of all places, did not think we would race like that. That was awesome, and it feels so good after last win being in COVID in 2020. I mean, it's amazing.
Looking forward to, looking kind of back at everything as a whole, I mean, this race does finish about 20 laps prior of the scheduled distance of 500 kilometers. Are you glad it's over? Or are you glad the time limit came in to save you there? Or were you hoping to duke it out for the last 20?
I mean, we'd have been fine no matter what. I told everybody, because this is one big team basically right here. I mean, when I told them, said after that last caution, this is gloves off. Like, race respectfully, but we're going to race for this.
And looking forward,
I would have loved to have had 20 more laps of that, because we were racing clean and it was fun.
Well, all things considered, still a phenomenal afternoon for you. And like we said, your first win in a good 4.5 years. It's a bit of a shocking number when we think about it that way. But 3 weeks, we swing back out to Interlagos. So it's our first trip down to South America this season. What's your take as we get set to go racing at arguably one of the more famous road courses out there in the world?
I'm going to try to survive, not do what I did at Phillip Island. That's what I'm going to try to do, because if I can just meander my way through the road courses and come to these things with these dominant cars like we had today, I'll be fine. I'll have a great season. I'll enjoy it.
Well, Logan, a pleasure to be able to talk to you up here once again. Congratulations on your second win of your Classic IndyCar Series career, and we'll see. Hopefully it won't be the last one of the season either.
Real quick, let me shout out my setup shop, because I'm the one that's been built. Yeah, I've been building the GTP and the LMP2 for Team Watson Racing setups, and we do IIS for the Dallara IR18. I mean, you see what I can do here, so you should buy my setups. They're pretty great.
I mean, hey, there's no better endorsement for your setup than one that you've won on, so I mean, fair play. Logan Simmons takes home his first win since 2020 this afternoon, and boy, wild way to close this one out. And my pick to win, my second pick to win, Ethan Hagan comes home in the number 2 spot. So close, and he finishes off the TWRS 1-2, and he is standing by with Austin Edstrom.
Yeah, Ethan Hagen, our second place finisher tonight. Ethan, y'all's drive the last 20 or so laps was just absolutely intense, insane to watch from the broadcast booth. And I saw you stuck down on the bottom side of the racetrack multiple times there through the last 10 laps, just trying to make something happen. You had enough speed to get up to second, but not quite enough to challenge Logan. What more did you need down there on the bottom to actually get up there side by side with your teammate?
I probably just needed to send it down a bit more, but he is my teammate, so I didn't want to screw that up with the team and such, especially for the points. But no, if I'll be honest, that was probably the most fun I ever had in an oval. But pretty good finish. I mean, this definitely sucks to finish second that close, but all in all, it's a good result for the team and good momentum to the next race.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's a really good start to the season for y'all, having a 1-2 and only the second race of the year. Really sets both of you guys up really, really nicely in the points, at least for this week, going forward for the rest of the season. So looking forward to the rest of the season and knowing how your first two races have gone, and we saw the speed out of you and Simmons both last season, time and time again. Do you think that either one of you guys are on for the championship this year? You know, it just fell right out of your grasp last season, but y'all have the pace to do it. So what are your expectations coming into the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think we're definitely part of this championship mix, like not just the drivers but the teams as well. But yeah, I mean, we got some good tracks heading up, like Interlagos next, where I've won before, and like Long Beach in the future, and some ovals that we're really good at. So hopefully we're still this competitive that we've shown today and go on and win some more.
Well, Ethan, congratulations on the second place finish. Do you have anybody to thank at the end of this one?
Just thanks the team and thank my family for for everything, and just glad to be doing what I love.
Well, Ethan, like I said, congratulations on the second place finish, and seeing or looking forward to see if you can do that one better whenever we go racing to Interlagos in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that was our second place finisher of Ethan Hagen. Big thank you to him for coming up and talking to us. Next up, we're going to have our third place finisher of Thomas Mustinen talking to Gary.
Hey, Thomas, congratulations on P3. I know it's sounds kind of hollow considering much of this day you were the leader. You led 79 laps. You were kind of up front the entire day and literally just kind of ran out of time. If this didn't turn into a timed race, what are your thoughts on possibly getting those 2 extra spots and maybe getting the win here today?
I don't really know. It was difficult in that pack since all 5 of us were running practically the identical setup. Really, I think if it went a couple more laps, there's a chance anyone could have had it. So I don't think personally getting those 2 extra laps would have paid off for me.
Talk about earlier part of the race when you were kind of leading. At any point there, when we still thought that it was going to be a complete race and we're trying to save some fuel, any thought on letting those guys go on by you and try to save behind them and save some fuel? Other than, or does it just continue to push and lead those laps and all the while not getting the fuel mileage as the people behind you were?
Yeah, I think it was priority was more on trying to stay in the lead, to be honest. With fuel saving, I don't believe you would have really gained much around here, because the pace stays very similar, with it not being a flat-out oval, for example. So, yeah, it was just more comfortable and more fun leading up front.
Well, all things considered, looking at the new point update, we know you didn't have the greatest of starts at Phillip Island, but you improved 19 spots in the standings now to 6th. So you pretty much audited that Phillip Island finish out of the way, and now you could really concentrate on the season. So congratulations on the P3 today. You're now in the top 10 in the points after 2 races. A P3 and a podium here to kind of cancel out the bad taste of Phillip Island there. But any shout-outs, any friends, any family, sponsors that you want to say hi to before we let you go for this big P3 today on a race that was really attrition-filled and a drive to survive out there?
Yeah, I guess just thank you to all my teammates at Iconic and everyone at PWR Rap. And I would say specifically Logan for giving us an incredible setup today. Just amazing.
Well, there you go, Nolan. P3 here today, and he is now 6th in the points, just behind Randy Shoemake, Jamie Wilson, Johnny Garrett, Logan Simmons. And now our points leader is still he managed to survive. Cameron Dance.
I think this race was about as wild of a race as one could hope for, and definitely the phenomenal finish was a massive consolation prize on not being able to run the distance. By the way, for those that were curious, we finished the race on lap 187 of 201, so about 15 laps shy of the mark, so that means that even if we didn't have that last caution, we probably still weren't going to make it on time anyway with how much time was still yet to run, but it was a wild ride for sure. Quite a few yellows, of course, but sometimes those races are to be expected. Still had more than half the field on the track at the end, and enough for them to put on a phenomenal race. So, Austin, I'll start with you with your closing thoughts in this one. 3 weeks from today, we're going to be racing down to Interlagos. You and I both very familiar with that place. You've called several races there, in particular with the Beer League. It's a phenomenal track, phenomenal racing, and it should be a good, fun ride for round 3.
Oh, absolutely. I just look forward to these CIS races so much, man. They are so good week in, week out. Absolutely fantastic, and I think it's going to be more of the same whenever we go racing at Interlagos.
And Gary, kind of same thing, right? It's one of those racetracks that has so much history steeped in it, not just, of course, in the IndyCar community, but throughout Formula One, especially Brazilian supercars and more. It's one of those tracks where it just feels special whenever you go down there.
Yeah, there's a lot of elevation changes. You got an upper portion, a lower portion, a very fast front straightaway, very sweeping corners, not horribly technical. These cars tend to plow like dump trucks. They're not really built for road courses. They should do reasonably well. But we got 2 road courses before we get to our next oval, so those that race the roads have a little bit of an advantage here over the next couple of races before we get to our next oval at Milwaukee, which is a vastly different oval than what we just raced here today.
It's extremely difficult, and before we get to all of that, we still got more racing action on Greenflight TV. Just under 4 hours from now, the SRL Xfinity Series will take off at the Martinsville Speedway for round number 8 of their championship. Gary Watson and I in the booth. That one, Austin Estrom is back in the booth for the Guardian Autosport 250 at Daytona to kick off the High Tide Racing League Series tomorrow night. While the OMSRL Cup Series swings out to Darlington. Doubleheader on Wednesday with Evan Basoko and Derek Watson bringing you round 2 of the PSR Sim Game Expo Truck Series from Bristol Motors Speedway at 8:25 p.m. And then, of course, the Beer League kicks off their 11th season of competition in the Legends 34 Coupes. Speed comes out at Bristol on Thursday with the SRE IL Truck Series in a 3-way grudge match for the final spot on the championship. That'll be for the Avondale 150 Truck Finals over on Saturday. Want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you? Check us out today at www.greenflighttv.com. As always, my name is Ola Rambo, bringing you all the action on Greenflight TV alongside Austin Edstrom and Gary Godso. Thank you so much for joining us on both Greenflight TV and if you watch us on the broadcast on ESTV. And we will see you when we go racing down south in South America.